Hello, everybody. Neil, would you
Hey,
like to repeat yourself?
you sure you want me to repeat
Let's
myself?
not.
Oh, that's funny. I told Brittany about what happened last week,
Uh,
and she was like, "What's the matter with you?" And I was like, "You know, I am me, but you choose to be with me. You know,
nice,
like
nice.
I can blame mine on genetics and upbringing and my gut bacteria. You know, the gut biome. Um, you just make the active decision. I imagine several times a day you have to actively decide to be here. So, oh,
Nice.
marriage. Okay, cool. Um, let us let us pick up where we left off. We will allow Tesh to go ahead and not recap last session. I'm not that mean to you, sir. Neil, do you want
Thank
to
you.
give us a nice little recap? I'd
Um,
ask Jake, but he'd say like 3 words.
we kill stuff.
Thanks.
Woo. Um, we we made the jump from the hand of the celestial being, the presumed old god, dead old god's body, to the main part of the body, which is being sort of pinioned together by these gith. Um, Afterwards, we decided to fly, much like Star Wars. Um, we were flying down the trench, the Death Star, and Jake and the intellect of Ara failed terribly. They crashed into stuff. They rolled off in miles away.
And
Then there
died.
was a lot of tension between them for a little while. We weren't sure whether maybe there was going to be a breaking of the truce, which was very swift, really.
For
Um,
the Star Wars reference he was making, he was more or less like X fighters flying through the tunnels to
mhm.
fire in into the
Yeah.
tubes. But anyways, go ahead.
Um, and eventually, that situation was resolved, and they trudged their way back up to a chamber, which we presume was once the heart of this old dead god. Um, uh, Tesh and I, Alarel and Ilen were in there already, and the intellect devourer came in and began devouring intellect. It turns out that the entire room was covered in we lit the same, Josh. Um, uh, was covered in flumph young babies, their children, and it began eating some of them. And we said, "Hey up, lad, last of that." And he was like, "All right." And we talked him into it. And we decided that we needed to go up and speak to an abbot, which is a higher ranked flumph, an adult. But to do that, it would mean taking the intellect of Ara, whose intentions have been thrown into disrepute. So Alarel decided to stay behind to stop the intellect devourer from eating young, and to also stop the intellect devourer of coming with them to the abbot, or worse, the divine spark. Um, so we decided to do that, and Ilen and Grishka flew off and found a monk, which is an adult flumph, but not an abbot, which is a higher ranked type. They had a little conversation involving save the children, no, fuck the children, no, save the children, well, see you later then, bye. And they continued on their way, and the monk continued on its way down to the children. Meanwhile, Alarel and the intellect devourer ended up in a death grapple, which there was significant damage dealt on both sides, but it was only a matter of time before Alarel succumbed. Just when things were looking most dire, the monk flew into the room and inserted its tentacle into the intellect devourer's brain. And if you might imagine an intellect devourer, it's pretty much your brain. So it didn't work out well for it, and actually coup de grace it. And then Bell even said thanks to Alarel because flumps are lawful good and therefore dicks. And then we switched over to Ilen and Grishka, who spent some time trying to squeeze through a hole. Ilen went first, and then he arrived on the other side, and there was like a whole bunch of Twitter users there, and they'd seen his last tweet and they didn't agree with it, and they cancelled that fuck. No, they chastised Ilen, and Ilen was chastised by his own summon, his own divine summon, for abandoning the Flumph children. Even though he hadn't abandoned them, he'd actually abandoned his friend and left his friend to defend them. That's kind of it.
It's kind of it.
And Grishka was like on the other side of this thing, trying to squeeze through with his axe, going, "It's Johnny!" and all the Flumps were screaming.
So when we last left off, literally the end there is Jake, what is his name there? Grishka, about 4 hours, or I should say 4 days later, chiming into the conversation with his own retweet of Tesh's, and the Flumps watching as it transpired. So Jake, you had a couple of quick words with him, and then we ended last session. So they went to go speak to the abbot to inform the abbot of what had transpired, and to see if the abbot was even willing to allow, because they were getting ready to more or less attack you lot. And I think Jake was white knuckling his axe, getting prepared to just resolve the situation.
I think you're putting words in my mouth there. Thank you.
You know those montages.
Any indication of doing that?
You know those montages where the Doom music plays? That's what was about to happen. Oh, yeah. like Grishka was about to grip his axe, and then the Doom music started, and then it's lump innards everywhere.
It's like Pillow Man when the Doom music drops or whatever it is. My favorite one, because it's really horrible, is that scene from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like way after I stopped watching the show, but when the two guys beat the shit out of those children, and it's like that scene.
I also like that one.
But when the Doom music drops, and oh god, it's so good. You literally it's like the Doom music, like really loud in the background. They're just like punching these kids in the face and like smashing them and like hospitalizing them. It's like clearly terrible like acting. It's supposed to be like there's no blood, no one's actually getting hit. It doesn't even look like they're punching people. It's like play fighting, but like they like pick the kids up and like break their backs over knees, like all that sort of stuff, you know. It's so good. It's so good. All right. Yes. No. So
time doesn't exist here, no way.
Don't tempt the paladin. You're gonna need him on your side.
Look, it's 17 minutes past, and we've actually done the recap. So
yeah, a lot of this was impressive. Recap. Come on.
But there's a half a session, so 17 minutes means 34 minutes. So
still ahead of schedule, I'd say.
It's not Regicide, guys. Come on. All right.
I hear they don't get anything done anyway.
So anyways, so you guys are sitting there literally waiting for events. You guys literally sit there waiting for them to come return and speak to you. So I don't think there was anything specific that your characters had left to say to one another. I think you're literally waiting while the two Flumps are there, standing over you, guarding you, which by all account, the Flumps told you that they are not powerful creatures, but you don't know. You don't. Neither of you know. You know.
There is one powerful Flump downstairs who just got a lot of XP.
That's true. You did get injured, Tesh.
They attacked me, and they literally cannot stop me from casting a spell. Like I can't even roll an any one and fail to cast a spell while they're attacking me.
Well, I do think it's funny that the one flump downstairs definitely was like playing WoW with his like level 70 friend, and he was there for like just like one boss fight, and he's like, "Oh, I'm level 32. Well, that's nice."
Yeah.
Anyways, so they're sitting there waiting. Again, as always, time passes. There's no judgment of how much time passes.
Does it pass though?
It's just the relative time, right? Like time does not pass in the plane, but
You are there for some amount of something.
but relative time passes relative to those around you, right? So their actions are able to take place and so on. So the two of you are sitting there. Is there nothing else that you two say to one another? Any other actions or deliberate inaction or anything like that you want to note your characters doing while waiting?
I see where you're
Ilen
going
is
with this, Scott.
Pretty much like locked up entirely right now. Like he's staring off into nothing.
Okay.
Briscoe will, noticing that, to give the obligatory, like
Kiss.
little tap on the pat on the shoulder, and he'll be quiet and wait.
It's like in the movie where you see like the jerk friend that like never does anything right. It's like his friend's like sobbing because like his mom died or something, and he's like, there.
No, he wants to support him, right?
Well,
But
if he was the jerk friend, he would just not care at all.
he's still in murder mode.
That's right.
He's preparing.
His flumps are looking
He's still
mighty
in-
sketchy right now.
He's still in murder the children mode. I get it.
Don't
So
you dare.
you guys are sitting there and waiting for the flumps to take some sort of action. Like I said, time passes. You offer the occasional, though very light, touched condolence or I should say support, whatever, to your friend there. And you're just hating the fact that time always seems to be at a still, but is always relatively passing, and you don't have any judgment of it. Both of you feeling a bit powerless. Eventually, the flump that had left before does come back. It does return. And as it's returning, it's surprised, of course, to see that there is that you can read much of a facial expression. But Jake wasn't there prior. Say Grishka wasn't there prior. So when the flump returns, it looks down and says, "Oh, there are two of you now. Well, no matter. The abbot's judgment still stands. You have given no reason for why we should speak to you. You are as evil as the creatures beyond. You need to leave this place, and we need to make decisions."
We
We
need.
can't leave.
You must leave. You have left our children in a fate that they do not deserve. We must now go and take action. We must decide what action to take.
Our other comrade
Oh,
is with.
Anno?
Yes.
Go ahead.
We,
What?
it's really hard to stay in character with this shit.
Sorry.
You may have set me off for a good 5 minutes. Tesh, you take over, please.
We left an ally. We can't back down from this mission. We were literally given it by a god.
The response of this creature is, "So you say. But whichever god would send people that would leave children to suffer and die is no god we wish to meet with. You've been asked to leave. We do not wish for things to become violent.
Nor do we.
Have you
There
explained to
are-
them what's at stake here?
Yeah, I did before when I explained it to thing, but I'm about to explain it properly. There are countless souls being destroyed. God knows how often.
Which god?
Whoever is sacrificing them to the entropy.
Nearly
And we
all of them.
prove that they don't need to fear the entropy, that the entropy cannot kill the gods. To do that, we need the divine spark. Until then, gods are trading souls like currency and sacrificing them to the entropy. That's not death, that's worse than death. That's destroying the soul entirely.
One of the things that you know about these creatures. One of the things that you know about these creatures is that they are very red at the moment, as you can imagine. But one of the things that you notice is, as you're speaking, Tesh, occasionally you will. I should say they're very red and purple. But one of the things that you notice is occasionally when you're speaking, roll sense motive for both of you. But occasionally when you're speaking, you see the color shifts from like red or purple to being almost like a brownish kind of color. Grishka is actually the person that kind of understands this, having witnessed a degree of the color shifting before. Though granted, you came in later than the rest, you understood that the color shifting was something that pertained to conversation, as the one you had spoken to, the color you had seen beforehand with those down below, so on and so forth. Grishka may not be the most educated when it comes to the world. I'm going to go ahead and roll me an intelligence check real quick. Obviously, you know that red is going to be... obviously, you know that red... You can feel free to look that if you want, by the way. Obviously, you know that red is a representation of them being alerted or angry or something along those lines. You're not a fool when it comes to that one. And obviously, you know that when it came to the blue, those colors came across when it was talking about the children with the one you had seen beforehand. And so obviously you can imagine that purple would be a combination of those two. Grishka, however, is no, say he's no art major, and seeing the occasional brown, he doesn't know necessarily what color brings brown in when mixed with red or blue or purple or whatever. But he definitely knows that there's some other color being mixed in there to cause that color to happen. And he knows that specifically when Tesh was speaking beforehand about some part of what he had just said. With the 24, I would say it was while he was specifically talking about the task that was given to you. I can't really fine-tune it any more than that.
It's fine, because it doesn't change what I was going to say anyway. So Grishka says to them, do you believe in any of the gods? Do you follow any?
We know of the gods. We also know of those that are pleading. And typically speaking, mercy would be given to those that are pleading. But every moment you spend pleading is a moment that our children are in danger because of your inaction.
Your children, whilst some were killed by that thing, it was stopped by Ilen and my other friend that is now down with them. Now, I am pleading with you because I'm asking you, do any of you follow the gods, any gods? Or do you have your own beliefs in something different?
All gods are respected, as you
Okay,
do not respect our time.
If you and your children were to die and your souls passed on for this place, we are We are here because
one of the ones on the side interrupt you and say, "You confuse the cycle of life for us and the cycle of life for you. They're not the same."
Are you not part of this world?
Getting frustrated, Grishka will look to Ilen and he'll say, I don't know how to explain to them that that lives are just being thrown away, souls are being put to that thing. Raerin doesn't... his essence is gone.
The one that we met on the way up here attempted to connect with my mind, but failed to do so. Would you be able to, or the abbot, be able to access my mind if I let it?
You're talking about the abbot accessing your mind?
I said, would any of you or even the abbot be able to access my mind if I let you? Or I'll say let you.
Nobody wishes to touch the evils that are inside there.
Where?
This is wrong. These things claim to be good, yet they do not care. They do not
As
care
you
for
do
the
not
fate of
care
others.
for the fate of our children.
You think I don't care? You think it didn't kill me every inch that we stepped away from them? But countless souls are being destroyed every second we waste. I can't.
One of them does chime and say, "I concur."
I care.
You can go ahead and roll a diplomacy check, but again, one of them does chime in and say, "I concur." As you say, countless souls are being lost every second we waste. Are you satisfied with your 22?
I'm gonna lock that. Ah, dang it. Not quite. 25.
Okay. And Grishka, you're obviously a part of the conversation. I assume you'd like to add on with your own approach, whether it be diplomacy or intimidate.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Awesome. So, as you're saying this, go ahead and roll me a sense motive, gents.
Oh, that's appropriate.
So the sense motive, Grishka, what you come to realize is that there is one primarily speaking, the one that returned. And there's another one that occasionally interrupts and whatnot, as you've heard me say many times now, or just did right now, right? When you said countless souls wasted every second we wait, every moment that passes, whatever, more or less saying, yeah, you're doing that. You're wasting our time. Baby's dying because of you. Yes. Those two have been the same the entire time. One of those two is actually one of the ones that attacked, what's his name? Ilen before. But the third one that's there, the one that's on the far left, because, left is right, just saying. So the one that's on the far left, once again, left power rule. You lefties that are out there, I'm with you. I stand with you. Let's bring these righties down from their state of oppression. So the that one seems to have never chimed in once in this, has never been rude to you once, has simply just watched all that transpired. As you're making your comments, you can even see a moment where it's purple color, because as I keep saying, there's like red, but there's also purple. This is the purple one. It flickers for a couple of moments away from being purple into being blue, before flickering back into being purple again. That specific one, Jake, you notice it. Ilen, of course, is too tunnel visioned and whatnot.
Okay. Grishka then says...
Raerin left Elantris on my top step years ago. I never read it because I haven't had time to properly read a book aside from all of like the Federalist Papers and the Constitution and Declaration of Independence. That's what I read this past summer. It's all I've read in the past few years aside from like science articles and stuff and political stuff. Go ahead, Jake.
Grishka just says to them, you say that this parent, Ilen, is evil or bad. He is good. He's saved. Him and my other companions saved your children's lives. Without them, that thing would have kept going and going and going. Who knows how many? We were given a quest by the gods to save souls, and one of our companions remains there to make sure that this thing doesn't attack any more of your children. This Ilen is good. I can't understand how you don't see this. And he'll kind of take a knee and put his arm around Ilen, and he'll say, no, he won't say anything. He'll just be there for support.
Could you repeat all of those lines, but with like a orcish kind of tone and a deep Australian accent, like a bush accent? We want to make sure we get the character right. No? Okay. So you do your pleading, of course, which, truth be told, is very uncharacteristic for Grishka to be pleading rather than making them plead because of the inconvenience. And then, of course, like you said, you take a knee and you're there, no armor or whatever it is. So, my apologies. I take a knee and throw your arm around him. And the two that have been aggressive, the one that's in the center that had left in return says, "You've been warned," and you can actually see that their tentacles get sharp and whatnot, and they start to move towards you. When the one that's adjacent to them, the one that had been like purplish blue and whatnot beforehand, finally chimes in and says, "Wait. Go. See to it that the children are safe. Do what you must. I will handle these two." And they'll kind of like turn their attention, like the eye stalks, go over to that one. And there's like moments of silence. As you can imagine, they're communicating back and forth with one another. And then they, their color, once again, kind of like seems to shift multiple times, but then eventually ends with just like that deep red and kind of like a blinking red. And then they go and they just very easily, whereas you guys like, they just easily just kind of like slide right through. Kind of like if you had like a long night of eating, really bad greasy foods and drinking very hard, and you sit down at the loo and let's just say it's easily makes its way out. That's the flump making its way through this little passage that they have set to slow you guys down on your entrance to leave you kind of exposed. So they just go popping right out and heading off, leaving just the one behind who's there and kind of like floats to be in the center of this little hallway. Its colors, as I said beforehand, were predominantly purple, shifting occasionally to blue. It's now, as it's there alone, shifting back towards, while being purple, more along the reddish side of that spectrum, right? Shifting, red shifting a bit, as it's standing there alone and is looking at the two of you. Moments pass. Do either of you say anything, or do you allow them to pass in silence?
I won't say anything.
Yeah, Ellen's just waiting for it's whatever it wants to do.
You made your choice, and you've been judged for it. It says after a period of time passing. I agree with the judgments. However, you had summoned an Archon who had seemingly been surprised by your actions. You make claims of a grand task. You chose evil to make your task simpler, and you have been judged for it. And I agree with that judgment. But it doesn't change the fact that a task had been given to you, and at some point an Archon had served. You keep making mention about something. A spark. What is this spark?
the proof that this god is still in some way alive, that the entropy couldn't kill it.
Where is the spark?
My only guess now would be in the brain somewhere. I had hoped I had hoped you would know.
We do not know of any spark. At least in the many gatherings that our cloister has had. It's never been discussed amongst the abbots or the monks.
To be truthful, we don't know what exactly it is. Ilen used his healing magics before, and life returned, even if just a little bit. We don't know exactly what we're looking for, but we have to find it.
You wish to proceed.
I've lost everything in this
I-
quest. Everything but my life.
I'm sorry to say, but you are not a good person, and so your losses have probably been justified. But if you wish to proceed any further, you're going to have to give me a reason to trust you. You must leave everything here.
Ilen would put down his shield, uh, armor as well.
I mean, things like armor and whatnot. Like you can imagine if it's like, if it's a heavy suit of armor, you just take off a couple of pieces, sort of a thing, kind of like leaving yourself exposed, unarmed, unarmored, sort of a thing.
Yeah, let me take those off. He would do that without hesitation.
Okay. You immediately just kind of like disarmor yourself or whatever it is.
He would turn to Grishka and just, I'm willing to go alone, and whatever fate happens to me happens. If yeah,
This is not just before you, Ilen. And there may be something that you can't do. This axe is my friend. He died, and this was left in place of his body. I wish not to be separated from it, as we made a pact and a vow when we were children. I will leave everything else. May I take this? Please.
I can feel that there is life within it. I can feel there is thoughts within that object that you hold. But something must be said of how violent a life one must have lived for their death to be surmised into a weapon of war as their final form.
I don't know if you understand, but the things we went through changed all of us. The horrors, pain, it made him into something else. I love him as a brother. He had his faults, and he paid for them. This is all I have left of everyone.
No creature is without flaw, but the flaws of the creature that you hold are dangerous to us. I have never seen one of my kin be violent in all of my time. I have never been violent in all of my time.
There may have been a time that we were like that. The whole of trying to say humankind, but I mean, there's so many races. You get the point I'm trying to make. But the things that some people do over a long course of time, I hope you never experience, and I hope it never changes you. It's not something that I would wish upon anyone. I'm pleading with you. I will not use this. But he is my friend. And even if we are attacked by the Gith, I will not use him.
It
I
seems
will lay my axe down for as long as I am here.
It seems to think for a few moments. Why don't you go ahead and roll a persuasion? Tesh, you weren't involved in this one.
No.
He uses
I don't
intimidate.
need to help me.
He's like,
I don't know
I
what
will
else.
not lay it down.
Okay, here we
Intimidating persuasion.
go. Where is it? Sorry.
It's like, don't make me use this axe, not use this axe. Can I modify?
Yeah.
Steve just gave a gift sub to my dad. Was my dad in chat earlier? And I didn't see it? Oh, he did. He said hello. I didn't even see it earlier. I just looked over there and said 12 minutes ago, get to the sub. Thanks, Steve. So anyways, where is your, so 27. So you finish all that, saying all those details, and it looks conflicted. Like you can tell by the shifting colors and whatnot that it looks conflicted. Like it wants to acquiesce, but at the same time, you are individually a massive danger. And so after you say everything, it says, I wish to believe, but I can sense in you there has never been good. There is no confliction. You were never a creature of good. If you wish
I'm not
for
a
your
creature of
friends to
evil.
come with you, then it will be carried by the one who has recently made terrible decisions.
You look to Ilen.
Ellen would be, if you're okay with that, I can do that.
Please, if you would, Ilen.
I'll take Orsk.
Dad, I want you to understand the person in chat that's named Unfunny One. His name's Josh. He actually lives not too terribly far from where you do. He moved here from Florida. He's a trash human because he grew up in Florida. Anyways, and lived there pretty much his whole life. Anyways, Josh is like a 5'4" person, and so he's always trying to knock me down a few pegs. Could you confirm for them my height, please, and thank you? If he's wrong, if he's wrong,
I have chat closed so that I can, because it's hard to stay in character while reading chat.
Scott's taking away from intense RP right now.
Listen, well, it's because Josh is saying, "Quick, Daddy Daelric." Anyways, moving on. You hand it over. You hand Orsk over to Ilen. Right before he actually grasps it, the Flump says to you, "Be warned. This thing bears influence, and it is also not good."
But you are, Ilen.
Were.
Oh my god, I wish Raerin was here.
It says were.
He'll hesitate for a second, but it's a momentary hesitation before taking Orsk.
Thank you, my friend. It means everything to me.
Of course.
Okay. So you take it and you can hold it. Same as I had mentioned before, and you can feel inside of the oh, shut up, Josh. You can feel inside of the you could feel inside of the axe that there is a personality inside of it. You can immediately feel aggravation. You can feel anger. You can feel that it is being impatient because everything is happening. But at the same time, you could also feel an empathetic anguish because of what it is that Grishka has to go through while Orsk has to witness it. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of get all that stuff for kind of like coming through as soon as you place your hand on it. And you are familiar with the Orsk, though maybe not as much so as what's his face. You are familiar with the Orsk, so this isn't too much of a surprise. You're able to feel this. Anyways, back to the game. You are the thing looks as you kind of take the thing and hold it at your side. I can see that your hands are having a hard time feebly maintaining the grasp required to hold such a heavy object.
There is no way that he would be able to hold it one-handed. He'd have to two-hand this thing the whole time.
It's like watching a child pick up something heavy while their arms are strong enough to support the weight. Their hands aren't quite strong enough to maintain the grip. Yeah, exactly. So, that's like kitty carrying. Anyways, so you make your way over to the you start walking along with this thing. As you're walking along with it, could you go ahead and roll me a heal check, please?
That's more like it.
Do you
Well,
care to
2,
modify
3.
that or no?
No, I'll leave it at 31.
Eventually, at one point in time, when you're walking along in the tunnels that this thing is here, another flump does happen to come out into an area around, and it turns like a very vibrant green as it sees you there. But then after it turns vibrant green, you guys get closer, and it sees like the shapes that are there. Probably picks up a bit of psychic energy, and sees you carrying an axe and whatever details it picks up. It eventually turns almost again like a brownish color, and then it leaves the area. So anyways, eventually you're walking along, you come to the realization that the strangely patterned wall to one of your sides, you kind of like stop for a moment. You're like, wait a second. No, this wall isn't patterned. Those are the folds. I've traveled with Grishka long enough to know what gray matter looks like.
That's so funny.
Interesting. This is the brain, yes?
You say that to the flump. The flump turns to you and says, "You say that. You continuously define this thing as being a god and having a divine spark.
Once more with feeling.
No, I was never aware of this.
Huh. How long have your people been here?
That's a question best asked where you're from.
Did you arrive here? Or have you always been here?
When you ask that question, it turns deep blue as you stir up memories of your transgressions. It doesn't answer.
All right, then continue where it's taking us.
You continue walking along with it. Again, at another point in time, you see another flump moving about and just kind of like skitters off to the side. And it continues walking with you. It says, "This is where you were heading to, but I don't know where you were heading."
I wonder if my healing were directed at the brain. The grey matter if it would.
Would that alert the others, though?
That's a good point. I don't want to draw the git here.
We're heading now into the central chamber, to where the abbot generally spends their time. So it actually will come around a corner to a part of a fold in the brain that you can actually see. There's almost like a pathway going up. You come to the realization now that the area that you're at is over by the brainstem, like literally where the spine attaches into the brain up to the what's down there, like the amygdala, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so you're able to start kind of like come around the fold and like, oh, I realize where I am. I'm at the base of the central nervous, like I'm literally at the brainstem.
If that's the case, I'll make sure that despite how uncomfortable it is, I'm holding the axe in a way that makes it impossible for me to use it. Makes it very obvious that I wouldn't be able to use this at a whim, sort of thing.
Tax the brainstem.
No. Like just holding in a way that is obvious that I can't use it.
Okay. As you go in a bit further, walking along up the brainstem, you eventually see an area with 3 flumps that are there. And there are 3 flumps that are there again, having a conversation with a myriad of colors kind of fluttering through them, almost like rainbows kind of moving along. And then as the 3 of you approach, the 2 of you and the flump that you're with, they stop and they turn a bit of green with a slightly brownish hue to it. And one of them quickly floats forward. And there's moments of silence between them, as I don't know if you guys choose to interrupt or if you're just witnessing this.
I would just
I'll remain
what's
quiet
happening play.
again.
Okay. After all that finishes, eventually the others start to turn red.
I'll take a knee.
Okay. The one that's with you says, they've asked me to bring you no further. They've been upset by my bringing you this far.
So you say we're at like the base of the brain. So please, we'll do whatever it takes. We cannot stop our mission. We need to find proof that this god is still alive.
It says, I understand your pleadings, but they've asked me who you are, why you're here, and why is it that I lead you. I've been honest with them. My fucking camera just keeps doing that stupid out of focus thing. It's so frustrating. They say, I've honestly answered them. They're all upset by what it was that you had done.
People have died to get us here. There are gods at war with one another over the right to sacrifice souls
You keep
to
repeating
save
yourself.
themselves.
I've made my arguments to them.
Do you have a name?
Did I actually get that down? It is the one that you're speaking to. It is Westra.
Westra, was it?
Mm-hmm.
He'll look to Ilen and say, Westra understands. Maybe doesn't agree, but to some extent understands. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here now. These others, they do not Westra, has there been any word from your companions?
No.
Well, I don't know what they wish us to leave. Or they don't want you to bring us any further?
Both.
May we demonstrate something to you about where we stand?
It turns and brings it. Well, I should say its eye stalks kind of flip around the other way, right? Like go like from this to this way, to bring its attention to the others. There's moments of silence. As you can imagine, it's communicating with them. And then again, the eye stalks kind of like flip back around, so you know the attention's back on you. And it says, there's what is it? There's a degree of curiosity, but there's also apprehension, and with a pause, fear.
There is.
I have
I
healing.
understand
magic.
your apprehension. Ilen, I think with their permission and with them knowing without seeing, show them the life that is here. May we show you
Do
what
you
we discovered
have
before.
knowledge of
Persuasion check,
healing
Jake.
magic? Okay.
And you say, do you have knowledge of healing magic?
So I can show you the magic, and you'll know that it's not going to do anything but heal.
So first and foremost, as you're asking that question, you can see that there's this one in particular starts like heavily shifting, like from that like purplish brownish color to being greenish brownish in color, and you can see that's also happening between the others, which are like red, shifting from like red to like a brownish red amongst the other three that are there. And then to answer the question that you just asked, Ilen, to answer the question you just asked, I'm familiar with healing magics. And then you responded with,
So you know that I'm not doing anything but healing, and I cannot harm with this spell.
I cannot identify magic as it happens. I'm just familiar with the concept.
Ilen, before we start,
Yes.
Sorry, what was the thing's name again?
Westra?
Westra.
Westra.
Yeah. Westra, before we do this, I want to make sure you understand. Are the Gith nearby? I don't want to cause attention to you or the others who call this place home.
The Gith are everywhere. This is why we are sealed off and protected to not be found.
I don't think that this will. Yeah, I don't think that this should alert them. However, there's always a risk. I want you to be aware of that.
What we're standing on was once alive. I've noticed that my healing magics can breathe some life into it momentarily. This is what I want to show you. If I do too powerful a heal, it may light up areas outside of this. But I do not wish to do this. I only want to do the weakest heal I can to show you that this almost, I would hesitate to say, is even dead if it can be brought back with just healing magic alone. Will you allow me to cast Cure Light Wounds on this spot?
You ask that question again. You see, like there's a lot of green.
He
a bit of
knows
brown in
magic,
the
so
top
he's using the
picture.
name of the
And,
spell.
and,
so.
and it says, "I do not understand all of the things that you've said."
We wish
Will
to
you
show you
allow me?
life, but there is a risk. We will not do it without your permission. But it is integral to why we're here, and it may give you some perspective.
It does not respond. Doesn't say anything. What do you do? You
We
can.
cannot proceed without.
You say more or less, "I want your express permission."
Yes,
Pretty
we
much.
do not wish
I
to
mean,
do
I
this
just
without your
told him like
permission.
300 times
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
we're not
Well,
going to do it.
well,
with
it stops and it says, "I cannot give you permission, as I've been asked not to give you permission to do anything else but leave."
The others.
Do not understand.
This
You can continue to
place.
plead. You can continue to ask. You continue to beg. You can continue to do all of these things. They do not understand. They do not care. Your act of evil is too great of a transgression for you to sway them.
Didn't they say just before that they were kind of curious?
What you saw before was the hue changes.
I hate
Boy,
these
am
things.
I tempted just to do a channel energy now.
I mean,
You gotta
again,
channel energy.
it's one of those things where he's like, "I can't give you permission. I've been asked not to." I mean, there's no, I can't be any more plain than that. That's about as vanilla as it gets.
Yeah.
Can you give me permission? They told me not to. But can you give me permission? They told me not to. Like, listen, bro, you don't got to live here with them. Know what I'm saying? Like, you're asking me if you could have a beer. I ain't buy the beer. I live with them. They bought the beer. If you take one of them, that's their beer. So you could ask me,
Ilen
but
will-
it's not my beer.
Ilen will look to Grishka.
I wanted to speak Australian to them. Sorry.
I understand now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ilen will look to Grishka, just sort of like pleading about what to do.
They want us to leave. They asked for us to leave. They didn't say we couldn't, but they're not saying we are. Show them. And if they don't, show them. And if they don't understand or get what's happening, we get Alorel and figure out what to do.
Ilen will get down onto his knees and like put a hand onto
To remind
the
you where
ground.
you are, you're kind of like in literally you're walking alongside the brain stem. You know what I mean? So so you're kind of like walking up whatever inner cavity, the base, the top of the spine, whatever it is up there, inside that area. Walking alongside the brain stem, you can literally see it like right there. You know what I mean? You can also see like the gray material, the gray matter that's up ahead as you like came around. Literally the little lobe down there. Those are like, almost like the butt cheeks of the brain down at the base. Kind of came around the butt into the cleft where the brain
The
stem.
butt cheeks of the brain.
I don't know the different names, the anatomy of the brain. So it's like the little cleft of the butt cheeks of the brain where the stem kind of jabs into. So do you just are you looking to actively touch the brain itself, or are you just looking to touch the flesh that's around there?
What is the most towards the inside of the I don't want to do it towards the outside of the neck.
You want to reach into the
Because-
cleft?
What I mean is whichever side is the like towards the center of the neck.
What do you mean? My apologies. Say that one more time.
Because obviously I want to make sure there's as little chance of it getting to the surface as possible.
Gotcha.
So towards the inside of the neck. So like
Yeah, you're saying like more superficial. So like towards the front of the body.
yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember. I
As
can't
in-
remember the anatomical terms. So I think
Yeah.
s-
Just because,
s-
yeah,
but-
I want to show them the healing with as little chances of alerting anything as possible.
But you're looking to touch flesh specifically?
In this case, in this case, yes. And then if they allow us to, I'll do the. I don't want to. Yeah, if they allow us to, we'll do the brain.
You do you,
afterwards.
buddy.
So.
Brains
Go
matter.
big or go big or go home. Grab the brain.
You
I'm
do
doing
cure light
this
wounds.
first.
When you do cure light wounds, there's a little like. Whoa, there's a spider. Can you see it on the street? Like, oh,
Oh
Check
yeah.
can't see it. You guys can, but check can't
Yeah,
see
we
because
can
of the
see it.
background.
Eat it.
It's literally like it literally dropped a web, must have gone back up and just dropped another web. So it actually almost dropped on me that first time, and I didn't notice it.
Eat it.
Check could probably. I don't know if Check can see it now. Yep,
There you
can see
go,
it
yeah.
right now.
Did you catch it?
Trying to.
I've never seen Scott look more terrified.
Tried to break its damn web. It's like, wait a second, that's not what I was trying to be in.
Is it a bit high up there for you to reach?
No, I think that's the ceiling. Full palm. I'm just trying to, because it has a web inside here, right? So it's trying to, be like, whoa, why is my web being pulled on all these weird ways?
Oh, this would be so much easier if we were evil.
Be a
Oh,
lot
so
easier if
much
Valor
easier.
would pull his thumb out of his bum. Stop
right.
snapping down there.
Sorry about that. Now it's inside a cup full of water. Bye, buddy. I would have let you live, but you dropped on my head. All right, so
You monster? You didn't even drop on your head. You dropped near your head.
yeah, it's my house. Go find your own place.
I'm sorry, but your act of evil has tainted you permanently.
Oh, I'm fine with that. It's a spider. Doesn't have feelings. It's an arachnid. All right, so yeah, it's all balled up. Pretty sure it's dead now. So it was just water into the cup. So anyways, back to the game. It was small sized, so I'm just making sure that it was a single spider and not like a nest.
Oh my god.
All right, we're good. We're good.
Whoa.
Well, you know how it is when they're small like that. That could be like
Yeah,
it's a
I
bigger
know, I
spider
know.
and there's many, or it's a small spider and there's one. It's the small
It
spider.
probably
There's
can't even break the skin with how small it was.
one. I mean, I don't know. Get rid of it. There's not like there's bugs in here for it to eat anyways. What the hell's it gonna eat? Was it forming there? Is it looking for like fleas jumping off my head? Like, oh, I got one. Oh, this is a great spot.
Anyway.
So
You could
the
have been defleed for free.
you brain. You cast
That's
a
the
spell
healing
and you
spell.
can see a little bit of like the reddish tinge and the change of the whatnot happen inside the area. It's not very large. It's like a small little spreading out before it kind of comes back in. And you can see the one that Westra, you've been speaking to the whole time, turns like a deep, vibrant green. And the others also hard shift to being more like poop colored, very brown.
As you can see, the energies that I put into it almost brought the flesh back, at least briefly. Now that's the weakest of the heals that I can do.
When we were in the other place, he applied a bit more power, and the result was more than it is.
It's an interesting reaction, but as I said before, I don't understand magic. It's something that we use or that I was trained in. This could be, it says, this could be, and you actually roll me a percentage motive check. It says this could be an illusion. Krishka, again, a sleight of hands. Whoa, 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 what are you trying to pull here?
Oh, wait,
What are you trying to pull here? It is an illusion. It is an illusion.
You said because you started talking about that, I accidentally hit that into the sense motive. that was oh.
You both get the
I
impression.
hit the wrong one.
You both get the impression with the color shifting and stuff like that, and how it's kind of unfortunately these creatures. Let's just say wear its emotions on its flesh. You get the impression it does not even believe the words that it's saying. It's more or less saying a factual statement, like it could be an illusion. It's like it's almost like whataboutism. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's making a factual statement. It's not lying, but it doesn't believe that that's likely the case.
It's like when people are like, Raerin could be evil.
I can boot him from the call. I'll put a poll in chat.
Let them feel it. This is no illusion.
I can provide healing to all of us here as proof that it is healing that is doing this.
Not just healing, let them experience it.
Out of character, I assume you mean make it so like they can touch the stuff once it's brought back, sort of thing.
I was more channel energy. However,
Yeah.
Grishka is starting to get excited, and so you're not excited, but I don't know what the word is. But you know what I mean. You use your judgment. You know what I mean, because channel energy is probably big for you. You know what I mean. It's a big heal.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a big as an area heal, but it's not like it's
but
super
it's not
powerful.
directed. Yeah. Whereas like
I thought your channels were actually like quite big.
They are, but in terms of the reason why it heals the flesh so much is because it's directed into it, whereas channel was directed out as like
Yeah, I
earlier
getcha.
on, the channel didn't make the flesh act up as much because it was like just sort of like a area sort of thing. It wasn't directed into it.
Yeah.
Whereas the heal is.
It's like when you turn your vacuum on, and then when you put like the little pipe on there that makes it so it's like the narrow hole vacuum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you suck either way,
I
Jake.
getcha.
But you know.
You know all about sucking there, don't you, Scott?
Description.
Well, you should just touch the brain and cure whatever wounds into it. Cure critical wounds. Light this motherfucker up.
God, no, that'll be an interesting idea if I do that.
Get those connections forming.
So
Jumpstart the brain.
Where are you starting? Where are you intending to touch to do this spell?
This time I will touch the brain.
The brain or the
brain.
brain or like the spine, like the base of the brain
The
stem.
stem bit. Yeah.
The stem. Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna touch the stem. Okay, what do you cast?
This time I'll do one level up from that. Actually, I need to make sure I mark that off.
By the way, Neil, chat's response was, "Hey, sexy."
Nearly over double the heal. Triple the heal, actually.
So you cast Cure Moderate Wounds, right? And you can immediately, as soon as you touch it, and they're all watching, as soon as it even begins to start, like we're talking as your fingers touch it, and you can see like the beginnings of your casting the spell, whatever words go into it, Westra like starts turning like this super brilliant, vibrant, almost like neon green, right? And the others, however, as the reaction starts, which I'll describe in a moment, they also hard shift to green. And what you end up seeing is as you touch this thing and you kind of like release this energy into it, the amount of synapses you see firing up into the brain and down the brainstem is absolutely ridiculous. Just like crazy amounts of like energy waves going all the way down. But as we all know, the spine isn't a one-way pathway, right? It's a two-way communication. Huge amounts of like energy shoots all the way down throughout, at least in theory, throughout the body. You don't even know how far it goes. And then like not even moments later, huge amounts come rocking back up. And Tesh, could you go ahead and make me a will save? Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Don't worry about it. Nothing possible could happen.
Well, you sent a spark into it, and now it's sending a spark back. It's just a divine spark at this point.
Lock it anyway, Tesh.
Just in case.
There you go.
Thank you. I was worried about that 20.
As it comes up, you can actually see that there's a myriad of emotions that go across the various creatures that are with you, the 4 creatures that are with you. But very much all of them afterwards shifts towards a combination of green and what is it? Green and pink, shifting kind of like amongst those colors that are there,
Oof,
and
colour
like a
clash.
light pink. Yeah, I know. Again, just like all the brown from before. It's a softer brown.
They really need to understand their contrasting colors, what to wear, what not to wear.
So anyways, that's what you kind of see happening. And Tesh, what you're able to actually surmise as this comes up and floods your brain with a ridiculous amount of stuff. It actually legitimately hurts. You can feel it hurting. We'll worry about the hurting in a second. But you can feel this as it kind of comes up and floods your mind with a ridiculous
Grab
amount
onto
of
it. Hold on to it.
energy. Is you actually able to interpret an important message? Like you can actually feel in your mind here, and for a moment, your heart even goes in sync with a massive love dub. But at the same time that happens, you can also see Alarel standing there having a conversation with a flumph when 2 other flumph enter into the chamber. And so Alarel is actually conversing with 3 flumph.
Ilen would almost break down on the spot. Just, he did it. Alrel killed it, I think. They were able to stop the intellect devourer.
Oh, you're damaged, by the way, because,
Yep.
that was a shockwave coming directly up from the spine with no insulation whatsoever. So, it's not light. Sorry.
That's okay. I've expected as much.
Oh, I rolled well.
Oof.
Yeah, look at that. Why can't I roll like that against Grishka in a real fight?
Feel your brain losing
you
wrinkles.
You were in that.
Oh, stop whining.
You think, Jana? What are you talking about?
Do you remember that time when Scott was like, I've got a big bad evil guy ready for regicide, and then rolled trash repeatedly? Like he put the fear in them and then rolled like just
as he's saying the words about Alarel killing the intellect devourer, because he doesn't know if Flump did it. As he's saying, talking about Alarel killing the intellect devourer, he's like literally like coughing up blood at the same time.
Dude, you just coughed blood on God's brain. Disrespect.
I'm just gonna.
Flump's like, I live here.
I'm just gonna put one of these into myself before I die, because if I do this again, it will likely kill me.
So you see the other flump around you are moving about excitedly. They're clearly, you can tell by the way that they're moving, the way they move close to one another. There's a lot of communication happening between them. You can see that they're speaking to each other very rapidly.
Okay, while they do that, I'm doing this
Wait.
to myself.
Alarel, I need a reflex save from you.
Oh, come on.
Me?
Yeah, please.
That heal was so bad. That was my best possible heal. And how many ones did I roll?
Oh, am I still sickened?
It still smells there.
Wait, that is.
Are you happy with your 17?
No.
You can lock it. You can lock it. Go ahead. With your 20 total, needless to say, the entire heart that you're in does a massive lub dub. You are inside of it, and you just kind of like have to jump up in the air and allow all the walls like
Grab some flump.
around you, trying to stay safe.
Lumps.
After it's all said and done, and the whole world around you is like rocking, and it's genuinely frightening, intimidating, right? After all that's said and done, and you're able to kind of like just barely survive, like you don't take any injury, it's evasion, all that stuff, but you kind of like land down, you're like, oh, jeez. But then what you see afterwards is even more beautiful than everything you've seen since you've come into this incredibly beautiful Technicolor light show kind of room that's here, right? Have you ever seen the, I can't remember the name it's called. It's like a polyp swarm, or like, I think that's what the word is, polyp swarm. Have you ever seen when all of a sudden a ton of jellyfish just kind of like erupt from their eggs and just start rising up from the ocean floor where they're laid. It's really cool video footage.
They're all
Watch it in 4K if you can.
hatching.
All of a sudden,
Oh.
you see with that huge wave of energy that comes through here, all of the walls just kind of have the flump just rising up off of the walls and like growing in size to make literally you are packed. You're literally like what's her name? You're Dory, in a sea of jellyfish right now, as you're just surrounded by a ridiculous number of just flump all around you.
Flump didn't get flung off the walls, and
It was they like
Real good.
Well, they rode the walls and absorbed the energy, and then were born from it. And so as you're witnessing this thing, and it's generally, again, intimidating, it's frightening, so on and so forth, you survive, you're like, oh. And then you see all this happening. At first, you're like, what the? And then you're just like,
That many flumps might actually be a threat.
I think Alara would laugh with joy when he realizes what's happening. Like after the initial movement, and they're all like floating and hatching and all beginning to fit, and he'd start laughing like, "Oh, they're all alive."
not only did you come to the realization they're all alive, after a couple of moments, because of how strange your anatomy is, you come to, and like the fact that the only light that you have in here is them all glowing their various colors, you can actually see that they're all looking at you. And they're all glowing with the same color, or shifting all towards the same color. They're all going from a pale pink to like a hot pink in color.
I want to be the first meal. Thank you.
Don't ruin it, Neil.
I think it's more that you're the hero.
They love me.
You're all the hero of your own tale.
Oh my god, they're all your children now. They imprinted.
Oh, they imprinted. No.
Daddy?
So
Daddy?
much, so much child support.
You don't have to pay child support if you stay with them.
Well, we know what Aurorum
Yeah,
is.
about
I know,
that.
seriously. Alrel's like, like, bye.
Just turns into a tiny.
And he went out for cigarettes and he never came back.
Yeah, oh. You know what's funny is one time my buddy Nick, he went out for cigarettes, and when he came back, his dad was dead in the pool.
Well, we didn't need that right now, Scott. We're actually trying to finish a beautiful moment, and
that's,
you've kind of a real
Wow.
I'm not joking. It really happened.
unnecessarily.
That's
Yeah, it's fact.
that's deep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. His
Where do you
funeral
go
was
from
the
here?
only time I ever went to Florida. It set the tone. Florida. So.
That's,
So I'll.
And that's another good reason not to smoke, kids.
Oh.
Well, that's
Once more with feeling.
wow.
See, Midori's like, this is the content I sign up for. Click.
Midori just like rolled into chat like time to sub. Doesn't realize what you just said. Oh my wow.
No, that's why
Wow.
Midori's here. She's like, oh, open mouth and start foot. This is my life. Click. Anyways.
Wow. Read the room, Scott.
Anyways, continue. So yeah, they're all looking at you, and it's like a vibrant, like hot pink.
Alarel will like. It's like he feels awkward now because like there's this room packed full of these things staring at him. Don't suppose you could help my friends?
You kind of hear like they weren't speaking in your mind before. They lacked the capacity to speak in your mind before, right? But the sheer number of them, the combined psychic energy of the sheer number of them, you hear almost like a chorus singing in your mind. As you say that, they say, "We'll deliver you," and you can feel them kind of like wrapping around you, and it's kind of grasping onto you with their tentacles.
I know where this is going. Okay, they're adults
Asking you
now.
with their
Sign
tentacles.
doesn't
Yeah,
exist.
yeah,
eh?
that's right. That's right. Yep. It's like exactly how old did you say they were? All right. One heartbeat away from a good time. So, anyways, you are a kitsune too. Oh my god, it's like the perfect weeaboo. Oh boy. Oh, this is amazing. The question in this scenario is usually the kitsune is the waifu. Is that you or
No, he's a husbando.
and they're all the wife? Okay. Oh, Jake, I'm sorry to say this, but Grishka just officially lost the harem race.
Ooh. Oh. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm down for this. Aurorum does not have a harem filled with just born flumps. No,
Anyway,
this is cancelled.
this is a bad direction to be going.
Anyway, speaking of direction, let's get back on course. So up above, you can see they have their immediate reactions as they all feel it. And then a couple moments later on, as all of them come to fruition and their combined psychic energies are allowed, because like they could hear the cries of the children. And instead they hear so much more. You guys witness all this. You, I imagine, trying to explain to Grishka what it was that you just experienced as you like, and then tap yourself with a little bit of healing. Trying to explain yourself to Grishka what it was that is. A couple moments later, you guys see another flump come sitting out of the cleft of the brain, comes rushing down. This flump is Grishka perception check. I guess technically both of you guys can.
Yeah, I love how you're like, technically both of you can, although we all know how this is going to go. Oh, it didn't go poorly.
Good, you stole his good roll. Now he's going to roll a 1.
No,
His
he's
one
gonna roll
would
an
be like
18.
twice as good as mine.
Oh, he did roll an 18, but
So
good enough.
what was I going to say? He can't roll an 18. So technically if he rolls a 1, it's an 18, right? It's plus 17. Anyway, so you no, it's plus 19. So you
Oh my god, Scott.
you are able to see that this one coming out, it looks almost identical to all the other ones around it, aside from the fact that it's marginally larger. And when I say marginally, I mean like we're talking only the most scrutinous eye would even realize that. It's like when you see identical twins, but you realize one of them's slightly taller than the other one, and it's kind of like, am I seeing that right? Yeah, one of them is slightly taller than the other one. Like, identical, my foot. You know, that's kind of like what you're kind of picking up here, Jake. Either way, it comes out and it floats over, and finally I get to use this character. I've been waiting the whole time. It comes over and it says, and the flump kind of like floating over goes, well, that was absolutely amazing. Did everybody get to experience what happened inside of there? That was, whoa, that was darn right exciting. And kind of floats over and then sees the two of you and says, what is this curiosity? And continues floating over and says, oh, hello?
I will bow my head in
Yeah, I
respect.
Dylan would like do the one knee thing. Are you the abbot?
I am indeed the abbot. And who are the two of you?
I am Ilen, and this is Grishka. We have been sent to find proof that this god is still alive.
God?
Yes. And actually, you know, he points to
His
the
eye
brain
stalks are
scan.
like,
This is the
He gets
body
more
of
tangled
God.
up accidentally.
I just put a heal spell into the spinal column of
the brainstem, yeah.
the brainstem in order to show that it is still at least partially alive.
Well, it says that makes so much sense. It's a god. That makes so much sense. Please allow me to stop being so rude. I am Abbot Gamma. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I imagine the two of you are the evil creatures that I was told has come to invade our realm.
That is likely correct. We would not come to invade.
Although
though.
we are not here to invade.
It says enlighten more like, and brings its attention over to where it is that the last little sparks are happening. Literally, the handprint of sparks are happening along the brainstem, and then they kind of return back to like the almost like stone or hard like matter that it was before. And as it goes over, it touches that area right after it finishes sparking with its tentacle and one of its tentacles, and says, "That is fascinating." It turns back, like its whole body and its eye stalks, everything turned towards you, and it says, "Well, it seems like we're going to have to do a little bit more experimentation because I have witnessed something like I've never witnessed before. I heard a voice."
I felt I got visions from what was happening down in the heart with your children. Our friend that we left there managed to kill the intellect of Aura. They are safe.
Not all of them.
No, well, I've already said that they killed two, but the rest are safe.
It understands and says, "Well, you did leave them there, but let's go this way."
I did, and that will forever be my burden to bear.
It says, yes. It seems like you've made the right decision. So, and it starts moving along and
I like this one more.
moving along.
Do you mind if I don't remember its name again? Wenzel.
Westra.
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 If
Westra accompanies us, it is because of Westra that you're able to experience this and we are able to get here.
They have a responsibility. They need to process. Come along.
Thank you, Westra. And I'll walk.
Thank you.
I
I can't possibly ever thank you enough.
Westra just turns light pink.
And then I'll follow.
You follow along.
He just blushes, his eyes go all weird.
There's a lot that you don't understand. Allow me to explain rather briefly. We are Flump. We are creatures that are born from and live off of the latent, what's what we're looking for? Psychic energy of other creatures that are powerful. We can find our homes in a great many places, but those places have to be places with a lot of psychic energy. Sometimes, even in the place where you're from, we can even exist inside sewers or dwellings underneath or nearby densely populated places. It would have to be a small cloister, to say the least, but we require all of that psychic energy of all the many people that live above in the various qualities of life that they have for us to have enough energy to be able to survive down there. We have survived here, flourishing, for a considerable amount of time. We haven't understood how or why we've been able to do so. We just knew the energy here was strong. We eventually came to believe that was happens because of the Gith that were around, and the fact that they are individually more potent than an entire city of the people that exist where you are from. But then we realized that was actually wrong, that we actually predated the Gith being here, and something else drew them to us, not us to them. And so we continued to ponder and continued to think and continued to process. And we never came to a decision. We just eventually found the exact location where we flourished the greatest. And you can see, here we are. We utilize our own processing to allow us to channel a degree of the latent energy to a home, an encapsulated area where we can continue to propagate our young, to expand our numbers. But we never had enough energy for them to come to life. But oh boy, that changed! The sheer number of young that have just come to life. Oh, you should see it. They've all awoken. Every one of them.
So proceeded the great Gith Flump War of 1812.
Yeah, and you think the Gith, of course the Gith are going to win. Like, obviously. But then you realize this is the Emu War. The Gith are there with their machine guns, and the emus, they're just untouchable.
That's fantastic. I didn't realize that if if what you're saying is true, if we were to revive this god properly, I was worried that any action towards that would be a danger to your people, but it sounds like your people would prosper.
I don't know.
I don't think anything we could do would bring back,
No, but
bring it back to life.
it at least means if we can
Listen.
breathe some life into
Whatever
it.
it was that you had did, where you had done it, where I was in my chamber of contemplation, where I do the primary processing before I continue to propagate the processes with the rest of the cloister, and we ponder on things together. Whatever you had done there, it had so much energy that the energy itself seemed to speak. I could feel it. We need to do it again. Come on.
I can do
It starts moving along.
stronger, in fact, as I follow.
As it's moving forward, you say stronger. One of one of the eyes just kind of flips around, and it's like stronger.
Like we said, though, Ilen, do not get ahead of yourself. They need to know. This may bring an end to the colony. The gift makes sense to you. This is a very big risk. I just want you to be
Yes.
aware.
Again, you don't understand exactly what we are, or why we are, where we come from, and all of that. In short, we exist to contemplate a great many things. My cloister very much disagrees with the mentality of other cloisters. They're foolish in how they choose to waste their time. Unfortunately, I'm sure they feel the same way as well. There was one cloister that we actually got along with fair enough that we encountered at one point in time. Their cloister was specifically about the contemplation of contemplation, and we kind of appreciated that of them. But what it is that we're trying to do is we're trying to understand what it is that we live within, how it is that we survive here, and its significance. There is a danger in study and knowledge. We, of course, accept that danger. And besides, it stops full on as both of its eyes look at you. Now there aren't children in harm's way. Let's go! And continues moving.
Okay, I guess we follow it. I'm assuming the chamber is moving into the brain now. Yeah.
While we're walking, I will just say as well. Can someone be sent for our belongings in case we need anything from there while we're doing this?
It said like one of the eyes again turns back and looks at you. Belongings?
We were asked to remove our armor and weaponry before
Everything.
continuing.
No, you were asked. You were asked to be ejected of the place.
Wendell.
Before
yeah,
that.
Wendell.
Westra.
helps us out.
Jesus,
Westra.
write it down, Jake.
Westra, before that, before we could continue, asked us to remove our weaponry and our belongings. so we
Belongings,
could-
she said.
Yeah.
It says, well, I guess that's a bit unfortunate. You should have been ejected from the place, so that's fortunate that you were even able to stay. Nonetheless, everyone's busy. They all have a task.
All right, let's do it then.
And so it continues leading you deeper inside. One of the things you guys notice is that, I mean, you're literally walking between folds of the brain, like different segments of the brain. I'm sure you guys have heard of lobotomies and whatnot that exist. And one of the things that they do to treat like, chronic epilepsy is they'll literally kind of like sever, or a multi-personality syndrome, I think is another one they do it, where they literally sever the brain bilaterally. They take the two different segments and just kind of like remove them and eliminate the connective tissue that's there, and then put it back inside the head and be like, you're good now, to remove the amount of like firings that go between the left side and the right side of the brain. Well, they're also between the different segments of the brain. It's not like it's all one big mass. It's like different masses that have many connections between them, right? Well, what you're walking through, and because it's so massive, you can actually fit, but it's like a tight squeeze, like walking through like a I don't know if you've ever gone on like nature hikes or whatever they are, but like where there's a thin cavern, right? Not cavern, that's what I'm looking for. Like a crevasse that you're like walking through, kind of like going through this area, except there's all the drippy, goopy connective tissue that's there, except it's not drippy and goopy, having been old and churned. It's like everything else, kind of been petrified. It's like a hard film. It's like glass, but it's like a milky glass, almost like a stained glass, but like a strange milky whitish kind of color to it. So as you walk along, it's almost like a textured stained glass. You're running your fingers along. You even knock on it, and it gives like almost like the resonating sound of like a stained glass as you're walking through this brain. And again, same thing with the actual folds, or like the gray matter. That's hard like a rock. You know what I mean? Almost like it was carved out of a mountain to make this happen. So anyways, you are walking along, trying to like make your way through this area, but you're not able to easily traverse it because of how hard it is. Funny enough, what you see the flumph doing is in areas where like the liquidy material, where it might have like a goopy spot where it's kind of like a little bit of a circular like opening, it's able to kind of like rise up and through it the same way as like an octopus would be able to do, right? Whereas you guys have to have like a bigger opening, kind of like make your way through. And in areas where it's like a hard sheet and you're gonna have to like make your way around, it seems to be able to pass through it. It takes effort, but it seems to be able to pass through it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well,
I assume well, you said we were able to go around to follow, right?
It's difficult at points in time. I don't know if anybody makes any comments or notes or anything like that, or you just like leave it alone.
no, too focused.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you eventually able to follow this thing till the point where, I mean, honestly, you can't really roll a heal check on this. You don't know the brain. So you eventually come to a point where it's a tight fit all around you, and there's lots of connective tissue all around you. I forget what that connective tissue is called, but whatever. All around you. But you're in an area where the three of you are there. And it says, "This is my chamber. It's where I contemplate and process."
Okay.
Ilen,
Shall I?
give it all you got.
I'll just look to the abbot. You ready?
Cut out the divine spark.
If the abbot doesn't respond, then
Oh, so
he would-
you say, "Are you ready?" And the
Yeah.
abbot is just like brilliant, bright, like such a neon green. It's like being blinded, like being on the Las Vegas Strip. In the middle of the night, you know.
What if he pops? What if they all pop?
So
And you're getting covered in a whole bunch of flumph.
so something I haven't tried yet was doing heals consecutively. So first,
I reckon hit it with a cure critical.
I'm going to give
No.
it a breath of life.
He's giving Breath of Life. No,
Oh, I didn't even realize about that.
he's going level 5.
Oh,
He's going
damn.
illegal magic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I am. Technically, I am. You're right. That should be plus. I'm double checking all the dice to make sure it's all correct with my skills. Okay. So I'm gonna pump 3 of these in. Did that do all 3 or just 2?
So it blooped all 3 for the total of, let's see, that's 40 minus
Holy
3
shit.
is 77. 77, 85, 115. I think is what it is. But either way, so you boom. When as soon as you do that first boom, you can immediately start to see just the network of electrical energies happening all around you. It's one of those things, because it is electrical signals that work and that make a brain work, and this isn't like a small brain.
Oh, yeah.
It requires
Think
a
about
lot
how
of
much
electricity.
healing he just did now, and the feedback he got before. He's literally about to just explode. Rip Ilen.
You worry about
Quite
them
likely.
popping? So as soon as that immediate
to be-
feedback happens and like all these electrical impulses happen, you can see the flump kind of quickly realizes the dangers of everything that's here as both of you getting shocked repeatedly, and actually quickly goes over and it places a tentacle around and it's kind of like it's a simple little loop around Grishka's arm, and then another one kind of like around the shoulder upper arm of Ilen. And you can see that as the electrical impulses are happening, now almost like a lightning rod, instead of hitting your characters directly, which does a degree of damage or whatever it is, it actually starts hitting it instead. But the electrical impulses do not hurt it. It seems to be invigorated by that energy as it's happening. And then you do the second spell, boom. which continues to spread out even further beyond the immediate reaction that you get. And that third one just kind of like, and then all of a sudden, everything around you just stops. Literally, electrical charges, like shock, everything that you see just stops fully. Like you're in a super high def movie, like you're watching The Matrix, and you literally mid lightning bolt, it all just perfectly stops. And then, as you're seeing that, and the three of you are still able to move amongst it stopping. I don't know if anybody says anything or reacts in any way.
Probably an air of.
Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say it's like. I don't know the word, but like we're probably all just like in an intense like wait, like.
I mean, you've
anything
never.
can happen.
You've never seen anything like a network of electrical charges happening all around
Yeah.
you and then freeze. Like you're literally seeing frozen charges all around you. It's
Oh,
like lightning
wow.
Oh,
bolts everywhere all
I thought
around
you meant it just everything just
No,
stopped.
no. Frozen lightning, like
Oh.
time stopped effectively. And
Yeah.
all the area around you, the charge is literally mid-charge. You see all that happen. And then, as all that's there, as you're like all seeing this, like, what the hell is this? It all just fades away. So that the two of you are just, you watch literally the area around you fading away. You see Abbott Gamma is there with you. And it's just like, all around, and then everything fades. Like somebody took the opacity and it steadily shifted it all the way to 0, including Abbott Gamma. Just completely fades. So the two of you are just standing there in nothing. No light, no darkness, no black, no white. Like if you think of like what kind of a backdrop, no color of any sort, just two of you and Orsk, and nothing else. Just you and nothing.
It was just I can't even comprehend nothing. So I was about to say, is it like dark? But no, it's just nothing.
Nothing.
Hello.
Gonna meet Raerin.
You very quickly come to the realization that there is not just a literal network of sparks happening inside the brain as all the synapses are firing and all the charges that are happening there, but there is around you an immense energy that you can feel. Both of you can feel it. Not like reach out and touch, because again, there's nothing around you, but you can feel that energy. And both of you simultaneously come to the realization that this energy is something that is there, intangible within your mind, heart, whatever, for you to grasp if you wanted to. You come to the realization that you could, in theory, take this energy for yourself if you wanted to.
Ilen,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm joking. I don't do that at all.
Holy fuck.
What
I
we
don't know what's happening.
this is what we came for. This is it. Hello?
When you choose to communicate rather than take, the opportunity to take seems to slip from your grasp, as it no longer feels tangible in that sense. Instead, you hear a response. The voice is ethereal around you. It has a slight, it's a slight effeminate kind of tone to it, and just kind of like its higher register, and the way that it again like kind of like resonates around you, and you hear, "Hello."
This is almost all too much for Grishka.
Yeah.
He grabs hold of Ilan's shoulder and kind of shakes him a little bit.
I
You're
think
back.
You say you're back?
I
Yeah.
The response is it time for me to return?
We have been sent for you, Ilan.
we were sent to find proof that you had survived the entropy.
I hope this is a good god.
Yeah.
The entropy. Is that what it's being referred to? Well, is that what it is being referred to as? Referred as.
The devouring entire planes and souls of the mortals. Yeah.
I'm keenly familiar with the concept
I was
that
just
you were
making
thinking of.
I was trying to make sure that we were talking about the same thing, but it's clear we are. Yes, that is what
Some
it's
of the
being
other-
referred to now.
Some of the other gods, they believe it destroyed you, but it hasn't. We have been told to prove that you're not gone, that the entropy can be I don't know if it can be fought, but it doesn't have to be
Appeased.
satiated with all of the souls. Some of the gods are afraid that if they don't, that they will die. But you're not. You're still alive, like they said.
I believe you were wrong on all accounts. I was destroyed. And while I didn't die, it's only because I have never lived. State of life is something beyond something that I am capable. And I don't think it will ever be satiated, no matter how many times it feeds. I see before me two beings, one real and one created. Has the world changed so much? Tell me, Vrosk. Has the world
Vrosk.
changed so much?
Wait, did it say tell me of Rosk?
It says, tell me, Vrosk. But when there's a pause, the voice kind of almost like vocally taking a step back says, I believe your name is Grishka.
What? Vrosk?
You are Vrosk, or at least half Vrosk, are you not?
I don't know.
Woke up god of the orcs or god of the Vrosk.
I
That would
am.
explain why the undead only appear in orcish lands.
I'm sorry. I don't know.
You have Vrosk blood in you, mixed with that of the humans.
The orcs. That's what, as they are called.
Is that the word that is used now?
It is. And I am.
Do the Vrosk still worship Vrosk?
The Vrosk worship Vroga.
Is that the name they go by now? I imagine a great many things have changed in my absence.
Imagine
I bet they
so.
have.
You spoke of other gods and fear.
Yes. Two gods that have recently ascended saw what was happening in the afterlife, that the the gods feared the entropy and were appeasing it to try and save themselves from it. And they believed that this wasn't right and have been trying to change things. That's why they sent us to find you, to find proof that a god can survive the entropy.
That a true god can
Can.
survive.
As I've said before, a god cannot survive because a god cannot die. We are and always were and always will be. However, a great amount of myself has been lost and cannot be returned without the correct opportunity to do so. An incredible amount of power and an incredible amount of faith. I was consumed, yes. But it's not because this being is so powerful that it was able to consume me. It was powerful and keen, and consumes those that have faith in me. Without faith, I am without power. And without power, I was incapable of resisting its might.
So it can be defeated.
I believe, with enough power, it can be. But it strives for control, for silence. It needs the exact opposite. That is why I chose for myself to be the one to be consumed. When it was choosing its targets, I allowed myself to be the target. My faithful to be devoured.
Were you the god of the mole?
The mole?
From the salt plain
No.
that's falling apart with no god.
The inner planes. The inner planes don't have true gods. More regents.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was told. Sorry for my ignorance.
It's difficult for a mortal to understand, though I can imagine the creation here has a stronger understanding, considering the strong connection that you have between yourself and the positive energy plane.
I do, but it's, for lack of a better way of describing it, jumbled in my head. I can access it sometimes, but I was never taught it or learnt it. It was simply there when I became what I am. I was Perrin before, now I don't know. Something positive energy based.
All life requires a spark from beyond the mortal world. Otherwise, you are just flesh and bone. To have true life, there is something more involved. We all understand this. What you call the soul. Unfortunately, that spark is what feeds this entropy. Entropy wishes control by devouring all so that there is none. I believe the only way to truly defeat entropy is to release all control. As dangerous as it is, as much sacrifice as there may be, much has already been sacrificed, and unfortunately much more will have to be, to eventually wrestle control from this, though not malicious, not intentional. It's just how things unfortunately are done. That's why I chose for myself to be released. With my absence, there would be no control. Beings from the mortal worlds have a insatiable curiosity. They lack the ability to control their own desires, aspirations. They will always claw and climb to the greatest heights and will continue to reach beyond. Without me there to allow certain boundaries or safeties, that aspiration will have devastation around it. I can only imagine the ruinous worlds that you were raised in. The devastation you've unfortunately had to witness. How powerful those mages about you must be.
There. That last part. There are mages controlling, stopping the growth of power.
They stop the growth of power.
They call themselves the Arcane Congress. They have been trying to control magic and stop individuals from getting too powerful.
1 second.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I already am having another person go in so that I can stay, and I'll work from home for a bit to cover so that you can go do what you need to do. Yeah. I just didn't communicate that over to the other person yet. Yeah. No, I got you. Yeah. Oh, let me mute myself, then.
You know, this whole 2 hours have almost it's been movie-like. Like the picture
Yeah.
painted in my head. It's Scott's done a very, very good job.
Has.
Sorry,
exists.
Brittany was exposed again on Friday, so she has to go for a test again today because it's 5 days later.
Yeah.
Actually, the person that she works with, their entire family was exposed, so they're all test positive, and this person was in very close proximity for a period of time. This is actually the first time she's actually been nervous. But on top of that, last night she really hurt her foot and may have broken 2 toes. So yeah, I have to stay home for an additional period of time. So she's just giving me a heads up of when she has to leave to go to her appointment to get both the COVID test and have her foot looked at because she may have broken 2 toes last night. So, but she walked downstairs because what are you gonna do? Hobble around? No, you just deal with it. It's my girl. Yeah. It's like when I broke my toe by jumping a fence, avoiding getting jumped by 3 people. When I broke my toe and just walked it off. I'll live. So, this is America. You know that song. This is America. But she's actually going to see a doctor. So, good on you, mate. Good on you. All right.
Oh God, why?
Anyways. Back. I'm so sorry. That obviously completely broke my immersion.
Ilen was explaining that the Arcane Congress have been controlling to make magic usage to make sure no one gets too powerful.
Oh yeah. So you
individually powerful.
Could you just kind of feed me the line again? You said that last little bit there. They're called the Arcane Congress.
They have been making efforts to control the use of magic, at least in Aeroth, and to make sure no individual becomes too powerful.
They limit and police magic.
There is only one thing that you could say at this point that would weigh heavily on my heart. The peoples that you refer to, are they small, diminutive in size, compared to the 2 of you?
They are.
The Sill are the... So wait, this is meta.
They're talking about gnomes.
They are, yeah.
Yeah.
I realize now that they
Yeah.
are gnomes, the ones,
Yeah.
so, gnomes, yes.
They weren't known as gnomes in the time that I was in your world. But they were left with a gift.
Once more.
Wow,
with
Raoul.
feeling.
Jesus, hey.
Oh.
How you been, man? They were not known as gnomes in the time that I was in your world. But when I departed,
Once
I
more
left with them
feeling.
the Book of Chaos. A book explaining to them how it is that the magic will work in my
Once
absence.
more with feeling.
Explaining to them what needs to be sought after and achieved to be able to allow the chaos to reign. But most importantly,
Once more
when the
with
chaos
feeling.
reigns, how to channel it. It's chaos. It cannot be controlled, but it can be directed.
Once more with feeling.
They were supposed to use this knowledge to allow chaos to reign, and with that chaos, disrupt the entropy. Release its
Once more
grasp
with
on
feeling.
Aurorum. Are you telling me they took the lessons from the Book of Chaos and used them instead
Once more
to
with
instill
feeling.
their own control?
That's what it appears. To put it bluntly.
We don't have
I don't know the
knowledge
inner
of
workings,
the inner
but-
workings.
Once more
yeah,
with
From the
feeling.
outside,
From the
that's how
outside.
it appears.
But with chaos comes new life.
Once more
With
feeling.
chaos, there is change and development. I can sense a degree of that chaos in you, created one.
Once more with feeling.
There is an amount of that chaos that was used to bring you into creation. You were not created by any god, but by mortals.
Once more with feeling.
As I looked upon you, as I felt your presence, it brought joy. It led me to believe that the chaos had been set free,
Once more with
and
feeling.
that's why you had come into existence.
Unfortunately, the ones that created me
Once
no
more with
longer.
feeling.
The Mole Empire, it doesn't exist anymore.
And this is why you believed me to be the god of them all.
It was one,
Once
yes,
more
yes.
with feeling.
I was no god of no mole or any individual people, though I shall say I am embarrassed to admit that all of us
Once
gods
more
have
with
our
feeling.
favorites. It seems as though mine have let me down, much as favorites often do.
Oh no.
Once
Oh
more
no.
with feeling.
In the most recent times that I was on your world, I was known as Jacentia.
Once more
That is
with
the
feeling.
last name that I bore. And I was the deity that looked over all magic and saw to it that it flowed
Once more
correctly.
with feeling.
With my removal, there is no even flow or distribution. It will knot up, it will ball up,
Once more with feeling.
and it will explode outwards.
It's time
Once more with
for you
feeling.
to come back.
No, I cannot. Without chaos reigning, without chaos, there
Once
is not
more
enough
with
power.
feeling.
As I said, the power is required for me to be released, for me to return, the power to create, but more importantly, the power to recreate. The power to recreate is immense. It could take life as it exists and alter it to new, more beautiful forms, new, more powerful forms. The chaos needs to be released so that there is enough power. And then, and only then, my name needs to be known. And with faith can I return? There is no chaos. There is no faith. This is not my time. Unfortunately, this is the beginning of my time. This is the precursor, the prelude. I dare say that you are not the ones that were meant to release me, but unfortunately the ones that were meant to set the ball in motion. You said God's
Then we have
directed
done
you
our
here.
part.
You said God's directed you here.
Yes.
Which gods do you service?
Was it
I
Vrosk
serve-
that she said before?
What'd you say?
Was it Vrosk she said before?
Yeah, that was what they were referred to as before.
Yeah. Well, Grishka would say, my life and my soul belongs to Vrosk. It is by his wishes I'm here.
Using the name Vrosk does not make your statement any more or less true than it would have been should you have chosen the word Vroga. Vrosk and
Does
Vroga
not.
are one and the same as a deity. It's simply the identity they choose to take and the story they choose to live as they present themselves to the mortals. As times change and mortals change, so too must we change the way we present ourselves to the mortals, as to maintain the faith.
Then
But-
I'm sorry. I'm a Vroga.
You do not
And-
offend me either way. I simply wish to inform you that all gods always were and always will be, and the name that you choose to use to worship them does not alter that. There is no such thing as sacrilege or offense by choosing to use a different name in reference to the same idea, ideal, or deity that you are worshiping.
And the other two were the Martyr and the Arbiter, the two newly risen gods of the inner planes. Is that right? Yeah, of the inner planes of positive and negative.
Deities, certainly to the experience of mortals. Regents is the easiest term to use from our perspective. They have an important task. They are the keepers of the souls. They are supposed to keep you safe, to see to it that you have joy in your life, to deliver into you power and might, so that your own creativity can be brought to fruition. They help to direct your desires, not direct, for your will is free, but to allow your desires to have the freedom to come to fruition, if you understand my meaning. But more importantly, when you pass through them, so that you may be properly cleansed before you've delivered ultimately to the home that you belong in. Unfortunately, that balance was disrupted, as this entropy has a stronger hold over them, can devour them, and can shatter the planes that they look after. The planes, unlike the gods, are not eternal. They can shift, and have over the aeons. They have taken many forms. This form that you had mentioned before, this salt. I understand the meaning of the word salt, even though the language and the word that you use is one that never existed in my time in your world. But I understand the meaning. And I can tell you that when I lived there, there is no plane of such a material. It's your world now. And I'm sure you wish to save it in its current state for yourselves. And so, I, with a heavy heart, must tell you that your task to find and to confirm has been completed. You have found me. And you have confirmed. No true deity can die. But I must inform you that the new task for all mortals is to release the chaos, to be mindful, and to keep it as directed as can be done, to save lives, if possible, and certainly try at all times. But the chaos needs to be released, for it cannot be controlled.
Thank you. And I hope we can bring about that time of which your name can be mentioned and you can be brought back soon. Or at least as soon as possible.
Again, you don't see a form
Krishka,
or anything, you just hear the voice. Go ahead.
with all the talk about chaos and all that stuff, I get what she's saying. At this stage, I will pick up Orsk or take it from Ilen.
Yeah, I'll hand it. If you reach for it, I'll hand it over.
When you
yeah.
grab Orsk, you'll hear the voice say, "There's a strong bond between the two of you, and with Vroga. Do you know of Vroga's significance in your world?"
He, in the big scheme of things, I know nothing. What I do know is he is the battle fury, god of war, and the freer of slaves, the breaker of chains.
Do you know what all those things have in common?
Chaos!
Pretty much what I was going to say, but I was like, is that stupid for me to say that? But, I mean, he would kind of whisper it to himself. He'd be like, chaos.
It's time to release chaos.
You'll, holding the axe. I knew there was a reason. Vroga sent me here.
I have one last question, or one last subject. Darkening. Is Darkening in opposition? Does Darkening work in unity with this empathy?
One,
First
it's
of all, do you mean
entropy.
What did I say?
You said empathy.
Entropy.
And Lady Erevel is not
Da-
empathetic.
I do not know this name, Darkening.
Control. Manipulation. Order. While certainly entropy would not, in the end, favor this deity. Does this deity work in unity with entropy?
Well, I need
I
a
don't hear-
check to put this together.
Do you mean, yeah,
You heard it
is
here
this
first.
Do you want me to roll?
Erevel?
You don't have to
Valerie,
roll shit.
correct.
You are a PC.
for banning
Ah.
Lady Erevel worship. Ding.
Is
Yeah.
this
lawful good act?
along with Ilen, they probably just say, Lady Erevel.
If that is the name that the deity chooses to go by,
She is
Can I?
involved in this war, Ilen. She is trying to stop what is happening, along with many of the others. Unlike Vroga and the other two of the Martyr and the Arbiter, she does stand opposed.
So, is there any check I can make to see if there's any other god that fits that description? Really?
that definitely fits the description for.
Yeah.
The only,
Okay.
the other thing is the stories of Lady Erevel, as your characters know, because you have high religion checks, is that
Yeah.
she was a young girl that was risen to divinity during XYZ. Like she's a created god. She's
Yeah.
not an eternal god.
Oh, okay. Uh, Lady Aravel is a risen god, though. Is this who you're talking about, or is it?
She was
Uh, uh,
created by gods, though. She's
That-
not like a risen
as,
god.
as per her story.
Yeah, but is this
Not like an
the-
inner plane of a god.
So
Yeah, I know, but she's still a risen god, which goes against what she was saying
correct.
earlier.
So
I just want to make sure.
make your statement.
Yeah, so Lady Aravel was risen to God to be a deity by other gods. Is this who you mean?
She is the opposite to Virgo, and was used as such.
Lady
She is
Aravel.
order.
Lady Aravel, as you're calling this deity, the form they are choosing to take, will often choose narratives that suggest that order is greater than chaos. Will often choose narratives that will impose their will upon the subjects that choose to worship. And there is a significant importance of order in your world. Order is required, as is chaos. Both have a significance. But unfortunately, the entropy uses this order to gain more power and control. Order is an ally of sorts, an ally of convenience, not a true ally. Same as chaos is a weapon of convenience, but it's not truly the correct path. Neither is the correct path. Neither is the wrong path. That being said, Lady Aravel, as you say, likely has aided, intentionally or otherwise, entropy and caused things to get worse.
Ban her worship. Ban her
No.
worship.
It's very likely, with Lady Aravel in their heart, that the gnomes, as you call them, took the Book of Chaos, saw the dangers of chaos, and looked to control them because they thought the chaos was too dangerous. They had good intentions in their minds and in their hearts, just as this Lady Aravel has good intentions in her mind and in her heart. Sorry, in their mind or in their heart, because you don't know what if it's male or female. She doesn't know, or I should say, they don't know. None of that stuff has been defined. But anyway, so says in their mind and in their heart, when law and order is imposed,
Well, a lot needs to be done then.
what are your takeaways
hap-
from this conversation?
That the Arcane Congress needs to be convinced to allow magic and to allow the chaos of such to continue to persist.
Magic must be
Oh.
freed.
Oh, Ilen,
Free.
convince the AC.
if look, they're her people. You shut.
Still so naive.
Um,
Apply the bomb.
That and all else, the control needs to be removed for now. You're so still that I don't know if your camera's frozen. Okay, good.
I was texting the person that I work with that had to alter
Oh,
things.
that was scary. You were so still. I thought your camera had frozen. Okay.
understands that while you are correct, these institutions need to be brought to a greater understanding that the people of these institutions and the ideas of these institutions are not evil or bad. They're not wrong from their understanding. It's just what you and I discuss require an understanding that took your entire lifetime, birth, created or otherwise, to come to even grasp. You cannot fault them from their perspective of having not even the slightest way of understanding this. They are not bad. They are just, unfortunately, misunderstanding.
I understand.
And something needs to change
Just be
to
like,
really fight the entropy.
Chaos needs to be released so that the entropy could be held back, but it needs to be controlled to the best of your ability, directed. How do you think you're going to control chaos? Do you think Vroga is going to control chaos?
Virgo will not control chaos. Control is not what he is about.
We need. Are you saying we need? No, just stop. Are you saying
Rampage
we
Raerin.
need to turn Lady Aravel?
We could not do such.
You have crossed many planes, been held still in time for many years, and found something that even gods believed to be dead. You have achieved the impossible, and you question whether or not a conversation can be had.
Okay. May seem. It makes, as you say, compared to what we've done, then I guess that is our next goal.
Unfortunately, it cannot be. I must now give you the truth of the matter. You have been here for a long time. Traversing the astral plane is not a quick matter. The distances, while non-existent, are vast.
How long have we been gone?
Enough time that you will not survive the return.
So what now?
The gods. Will they not wish to return us? Do they not have the power?
You have lived full lives. You have served well. You have earned your place. You should take solace in this. For true peace was designed for people of your dedication, of your devotion. Any deity would be so fortunate to have those as strong-willed and faithful as the two of you, to make decisions, to choose actions as you have, all in the name of the deity that you serve. This is a choice. This was not forced upon you. It was not mandated. You chose every step of the way. A message can be delivered. That can be passed like a capsule through time to whomever it is you so choose to have it delivered to. But unfortunately, that message cannot be from the actual you, for you cannot pass through that time, and you cannot survive the journey home.
We cannot return to the material plane or to any from here. Do we report back like we were supposed to?
The astral,
Or
the astral is safe to you, as are all outer planes, should you choose to continue to traverse them. The ethereal becomes treacherous, and the inner, even more so. Time will try to catch up with you. You can evade it for a period, but it won't last for long.
we must report what is going on here. So we must go to the to Nankara's plane. But from there, a message may be sent, and I will return to be with Vroga. I will return there until it is my time to die, and then I will still serve.
Your message will be delivered to Nankarum without your lives needing to suffer. As I said, you may choose to stay, or you may choose to have peace. But you are not alone here. While the two of you are the mortals here, there is an immortal here that can deliver your message, and will do so accurately. Am I not mistaken?
Hey guys,
And
it's me, Raerin.
And coming to light, if you will, visibility for the two of you in this sea of nothingness, you have Phaedril.
Huh.
Yeah, make him an angel of magic.
Oh,
An angel of magic
Scott,
and order.
get right on that.
So
That'd really do the ticket. Norway is cosmically bad,
if we
but
did,
Phaedril cosmically good.
if I did return-
Phaedril can't be rewarded for his actions because he's not earned any reward. But at the same time, Phaedril can't be punished for his actions because he is living his state. It's a state of being.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
He's been a good dog and come for his walk all along the way. I think he deserves a treat. Didn't even pull on the lead.
if I choose to return to try and aid in this for as long as I can, what will happen to me?
How long?
Out of game, aid where?
As in, just do what he can rather than just being like, I send the
Material
message
plane?
and that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Or what if material plane or the inner planes, just aid in what way he can, at which level, what will happen to him.
The martyr is an appropriate name.
How long will I have, do you think, to help?
Should you return home, not moments. Should you be traversing the inner planes? More than, but not much more. Depends on how clever you are. I would suggest in my... she says, not she, they say, I make no suggestion. as to which path you should take, but I can say one is serenity, and the other one is not, and will be very short-lived. Every action you choose to make while you're alive will impact how you experience eternity afterwards.
Should I return to the inner planes to aid for as long as I can? Once I die, what happens?
It is not my place to sway your will.
Would my soul go to where it's meant to be anyway, or
That depends on your actions, as with all souls.
then I would like to return at least as long as I can to the martyr to aid her and the rest of them in this as long as I can, however short that will be.
I understand.
Myself? I will return to Vroga. That is where I belong. There is a war. There are always wars. And we will fight in his name, and I will fight until I can't fight no more. Then may my soul go to him. I wish to ask the creature Phaedril, passed on to me by another, that was given to the entropy. You, I don't know exactly even with what you said, but you're here even though you can't die because you don't live, but you're here. It didn't erase you, but he is gone. He gives it that like that quizzical, like he's gone. There's nothing can be done for him.
Entropy consumes in entirety its meals.
He's gone. Then this creature and the one it serves owes us something. And I wonder if I may ask it to fulfill.
You need not
May
my
I?
permission to finish your mortal dealings.
Before I go, I have spent some time, and Ilen, I've wrote down all from my first step into a deer to when we got to Nankara. Nothing has been said further. I did have the time, but he said none was supposed to know. I wish for this book to be replicated and sent all throughout Aurorum. I want him to be remembered. I want us to be remembered.
Hey, stupid. Did you hear what she said? Well, did you hear what they said?
What, Phaedril?
He says, hey, stupid. Did you hear what they said?
I heard of many things. What are you referring to?
Raerin died a long time ago. So you're just going to drop into bookshelves at the local market. A couple of tomes talking about someone who It's probably already forgotten.
Do you not have the ability to traverse time yourself?
He blinks at you twice.
Blink 1 for yes, 2 for no. Does he blink again?
He says, no.
I don't care. He deserves more than just to be nothing.
Is this your boon? Oh, I
This
do
is
miss
what-
Raerin.
Don't we?
Consider it a favor to myself. Maybe I can read in there about how he was way more interesting than a lot that I've been suffered to spend time with.
Possibly. I wonder if I could use a boon to make you serve the leaders of a deer forever. Would that work? You're just a lowly imp,
You
right?
assume a deer still exists.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Whoever is in charge of that region. That would be good, Phaedra. Would it not? Or maybe we have 2 boons left. You could accompany me until I use the last one, except what if I never use it?
You're making empty threats.
Anyway, I want that to be distributed all throughout Eroth. Whatever time it is.
You know, Grishka, I cannot travel through time, but there are ways to have things go back. I can see to it on my eternal life that at the very least one copy, if not many copies, I returned back in time to ensure that this is read in the appropriate time. I will swear that to you if you're willing to make a deal.
With you.
You can imagine what the deal is.
What's the deal?
Why are you probably around making me food? I'm about to come up. You know. Oh, I pulled my...
And I'll stream.
There we go. No. When I stood up, because this is a bungee cord, like the thing, it pulled my, instead of stretching out, it just like pulled my headphones. So it completely ruined everything. I think we're good. Say something?
Testing.
Okay, there you go. Cool. You should be good now. All right, go ahead.
No. What do you want?
You.
No.
But Raerin will be known in the appropriate time.
Well, he will be known in an unappropriate
He's like,
time. As
be
the matter
loved
is that it'll be
and
known.
cherished.
Goodbye,
Be heard.
Phaedra. You will accompany me for a long time yet. Now back to the big matters at hand. I will return to Vroga's plane.
There are 2 ways that you can return to Vroga's plane. To Vroga's realm, they say. There are 2 ways you can return to Vroga's realm. As you are, or as you will be. But I do suggest... Sorry, I do offer a deeper understanding of what I mean. As you are, you bear with you by your side someone who is very close to you. But what if you were to join them and deliver yourselves to a companion? Your message must be delivered to someone who could be trusted with it, so appropriate action can be made. Through time, I said this would happen. do you wish to join your companion and unite the three at last?
To die.
All mortals die.
Will I not die anyway? When the time comes.
I am offering for your vessel an understanding to be delivered to an individual person, but it would come at a cost, as part of you would need to go as well.
Can you like explain to me in the meta what the fuck you're talking about?
So remember how Orsk died? And like his soul
Yeah.
is still inside the Vroga plane, but like a part of him is like in your hand as an axe. You're saying, hey,
Yeah,
yo,
yeah.
you die too. You go to Vroga as like a dead guy, but then like you and Orsk are combined as an axe, and then because your message needs to be delivered back to the mortal realm, it's delivered in the form of you and Orsk 2-3.
Hmm. Can we hard cut to Ilen for a second?
Yeah, you can say.
Give me a
I need
minute.
you can literally say, I need to contemplate that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no attention is turned to you, right? Because there's nothing there.
Yeah.
There's just nothing. Just the two of you and Pedro. So you hear, are you ready, Ilen?
I'm going to turn to Grishka. Thank you for everything. Thank you for treating me like a brother. Thank you for giving me a purpose.
Grishka will give you a hug.
Ellen would happily hug back. I'm ready.
Ilen, with a small amount of divine power that this creature has, because Ilen has faith in this god, therefore conferring over to the god power,
Yep.
is able to fade. Same as you saw beforehand, like opacity kind of goes back. Ilen, you're back in that spot with the flimp. It was like, there you are! I've been wondering where you went. It's amazing. I've just, there's so much here, so much knowledge. Oh, you should understand. Jacentia? Jacentia is their name. Ooh, there is so much to be had. Where are you going? As you start to see, once again, the opacity scale sliding again, and everything fades.
I'll just say thank you quickly before it like fades fully, like obviously directed at him to make sure he knows I'm thankful for the help.
And so you fade away, and then you just fade into the martyr's plane. But as you're fading in, you hear that voice, that again, vaguely effeminate voice say, who are you delivering your message to?
So, meta-wise, you mean like delivering a message about what to do on the material plane, about what needs to be done?
Across time and space.
Okay.
It's not talking about Nankara then.
No.
Nice.
We're giving that information anyway. This is for someone on the mortal plane to get that information so they can know what to do.
Who would Ilen choose?
So there's only really three choices that I'm going between. It would be
I wonder if
Elliot,
it's the people I'm thinking.
Pardon?
Go ahead.
Who were you thinking?
Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
Guinevere.
I think I know who you're thinking though.
Go ahead.
So it would be well, I guess four, because he was There was something starting with Guinevere.
Go ahead.
But Elliot, Kithel, or Leon is probably the people, but I think probably leaning more towards. I think he actually did have. Oh, now I got to think.
Just don't forget to tell them to make sure that they leave the ban in place on Lady Arabelle worship, please.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Um,
While you're thinking, back to you, Jake. Then your decision.
There you go. Use of the final boon. Any Lady Arabelle worshippers within the borders of Adir, as a region, as it stood when you knew it, will suffer a horrific fate.
Bye, Leon.
Yeah, poor Leon.
Yeah, well, Leon was a dick anyway. He was
Wow.
like, oh, you rezzed me. I'm so upset. Edgy old man.
All right. So I'll say Yara. She lives. She passed her trial, or she is on the material plane again.
You would return to Yara at such a time that she enters her trials.
I see. And if I go that path, my soul will go to Vroga.
Mm-hmm.
Will I still be able to serve in that form?
For all eternity.
I do, except
What message should you deliver to Yara?
hard cut to Tesh while I think about that message.
Wow. Tesh, who?
Okay.
Fuck Gwen. We don't even know really Gwen. Joey, stop it.
So that's the
piece,
thing.
the NPC you met like twice.
Yeah, unfortunately, as much as that makes sense, he doesn't know Gwen as well as he knows some of the others.
It doesn't make
so.
much sense. She was an interesting character. She's not like one of the most iconic people in Ilen's experience.
Yeah.
It should be the priestess from Lady Arabelle's temple.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Honestly, it'd be between Kithel and Elliot, but as much as I think he probably got along better with Kithel, I think Elliot is the better choice because I think Elliot is the one who can grasp it, the one who can.
Can't send a
act
message
on
to
it.
Elliot. He's grieving over the fact that his best friend Raerin is dead. It's like, he'll never punch
So
me
again. I think
again.
Elliot is the best choice because Elliot can make the best use of the information. So yeah, I think I'd send the message to Elliot. Just so, what are we? Because I know there's knowledge of the gods that's not allowed to leave. What are we allowed to talk about? Just tell him about. What is he allowed to know about the entropy and all that?
And whatever you damn want, Tash.
Elliot is who you wish to speak to.
Yes.
And again, as you fade into the martyr's plane, there's a moment where all of a sudden Elliot just kind of like is in front of you and like looks up from his desk and he's like, okay, I way too many late nights. I feel like I've become Edric. I'm literally seeing things.
No, this is real. As weird as this is, I don't
Of course,
have much
that's
time.
exactly what a delusion would say. I need coffee.
I don't have
need...
much time, Elliot. Please.
Okay.
The task that we were sent to do, the task that took us away from the material plane, there is an entity that is called the entropy. it is thriving off of the control of magic in Aurorum, in the material plane. The gnomes, the Arcane Congress, have misunderstood a book that was left for them about what will happen if magic is allowed to be free without control, without direction. They took that as a reason to control it, but that control is fueling the entropy. It is devouring entire planes and souls. It took Raerin. The only way to stop it is for that control to be removed. The chaos that would come from just allowing magic to be. But we would need to direct that chaos. That is where Lady Aravail comes in. I don't know whether she knows it, but Lady Aravail is inadvertently helping the entropy by imposing control. I know this is a lot. I know this is so much to lay on you. We've found the essence of a god that gave itself up in order for this to happen. And unfortunately, it was misunderstood. The Book of Chaos... Is it the Book of Chaos or Book of Magic? Sorry, this is a meta question.
Book of Chaos.
The Book of Chaos that the Arcane Congress has was misunderstood. It needs to be directed but not controlled. Until there's chaos with the magic on Aurorum, the entropy will continue to get stronger.
And you can imagine that with like a dumbfounded look on what's his name's face, on Elliot's face. He's just kind of like, "Is that really you, Ilen?" And then you kind of like fade. You see him kind of like fading away again.
Just as he's saying, as he's fading, I would say, "I'm sorry, but it had to be you. You were the only one that would get it."
Should have told Laszlo. Who's I had in my mind.
Who's Laszlo? Does anyone in chat know who Laszlo is?
Yeah.
Laszlo, I mean, Ilen didn't really have much dealings with Laszlo.
Ain't that guy on Regicide?
Wow.
No, I think so.
Prisoner or something?
I don't really remember that well.
Oh, you guys never got to meet Laszlo. There's so many campaigns.
That's
it's hard
right.
for me to-
Ilen
We
didn't.
didn't. We didn't.
Ilen never met him. Valorant did.
Yeah, there were a lot of crossovers and stuff like that. So never remember who met who.
Anyway, so
Valorant
We
met-
didn't get
Valorant
many crossovers. You were worried we wouldn't play nice.
No, your time.
I thought Valorant met Laszlo. I could be mistaken.
I don't think you did.
It doesn't. No, Valorant wouldn't have met him. But either way.
Yeah.
So so you kind of fade away, giving the information as you gave it. Okay. And back to you, Jake. So all of a sudden you see as you kind of like, you see him fade, and then you go, I want to do that. You also fade, and once again back to where the brain thing is. Everything's frozen. It goes, and it's like you literally hear the abbot going, oh, but you've left me again. Oh, but you're back. Hey, what is going on?
Task is complete.
Task is complete. What exactly does that do? No, you're leaving. It's so vague. And you once again see it.
This
Look after Aurorum.
And so and you fade onto a chunk of land. It's cold. There's snow on it, and tracks of snow that are there. You look up into the last couple footsteps of tracks. They're small. You know those feet. You know those boots. And there you see her, cloak on, crouched down at the edge of the island, looking out, leaning down.
Yara.
Stands up, whips around, sword very quickly drawn.
I don't know how much time I have. He'll walk towards her.
Grishka? You idiots, you were supposed to go the other way. You have a task to do.
Yara, I've completed it.
You...
I've been gone for a long time, but been sent back. Listen. You need to stay strong in your trials. I know this place has hurt you, but me and Orsk will be forever with you. Vroga needs you.
I don't like what
The
you're
things
saying.
that I completed my task, but you have a task before you. When you beat these trials, when you finish them, you need to go back. You need to take up the mantle, and I need you to keep fighting the fight. Take it to Lady Erevel worshippers. There's something going on with Lady Erevel and something called entropy, which is eating souls, to put it bluntly. It was what we were told to stop.
Horrifying?
It is. And Vroga needs you.
In the name of Vroga, Lady Erevel will be stopped. Her people stopped for their part in this. As is always our task.
It needs to be even more so. You need to reform. You may need to take over for the old man. We need coordinated attacks to disrupt the rule of to disrupt the order. In Vroga's name.
They will fall.
That was two very
They
different
will fall.
messages.
It was.
Yep.
What do you do then?
I like it though.
I'll move forward. I will hug her and say, what are you going to do? We'll always be with you to help you.
Yeah, you're going
You will
with me
feel
right
our
now.
presence. I'm not here for long. I am not in this time anymore. But my soul goes to Vroga.
She looks confused. Obviously, she take time to process, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He says, don't forget us.
Like I could. She says, looking confused.
He'd hug her tighter. I love you, Yara.
No, obviously there's a hug back and all that.
Yeah.
You got sent way further back than he thinks.
You will succeed. I know you will.
I imagine you hand her the axe.
Of course.
As she grasps it, you fade. You
Yeah.
can still see her standing there, but you come to the realization you fade as she starts like looking around, like, what the hell? And you can see her there. And if you try to speak to her or call out to her, she doesn't hear you. You just see her doing that, and then she looks down and she's like, you are both here. Disrupt Lady Erevel. Destroy her followers in Vroga's name. Expands the Order of the Broken Chains. Well, that's a task. Turns down and grows and crouches back to the snow. You see a teardrop fall onto the snow from where she is, and then she launches herself downwards and into the ice castle as described beforehand. Start making her way back to the material plane. It was a very different message than the other one that was delivered. So,
Two different
Thing
people.
is, but yeah, and
Very different people.
ironically, both if they both go like the messages do their intended purpose.
well, hers is like murder
Both-
people.
Well, yeah, but it's
Right,
still,
right,
it
okay.
is still
Disrupt Lady
disrupting
Eraville
Lady
in
Eraville.
any way possible.
So I'm just gonna say,
Best
all-
way you know how.
I'm just gonna
It
say,
does
like,
actually make sense. Yeah.
they got given two different messages, right? What does that create, you stupid mortals?
Chaos.
There we go. Thank you. God,
The
chat and
concept.
DM are so slow.
I think that the
I
concept. of
forgot
chaos
to
may be a
tell her
little
to
long.
kill the slumbering queen. Fuck!
Phaedral!
I
Phaedral!
had it in my head to do it, and I forgot.
Phaedral, you have one more task while I'm still now. You have one more task. Use the final boon.
Don't.
Use the final.
Can I just say this?
Anyways-
the final boon is for Phaedral to serve Yara.
Yeah, actually, so Phaedral will
Don't
actually
curse her with a devil.
look at you and go, well, I'd say I got off easy. Y'all dead.
Weird.
And fades to go deliver his
I
message.
used that second boon though.
Yeah, you did.
say he got off easy.
Yeah, he only had to deliver two boons.
How many thousands of years have we been in the astral plane? He got off easy. That boons lasted forever.
That did, yeah. That does mean those specific demons can't enter a deer for that time.
So
They're,
well,
they're
they,
devils.
they can now. Y'all dead?
Yeah, but a deer doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, we have no idea what time. when it
We
is.
know that because Patreon's in charge. It's been what, like a couple hundred years with Patreon in charge? Yeah, it is gone.
Hey, they lasted that long?
Wow.
Like that's a successful
then-
regime.
So then what happens?
Strong foundation, Scott.
Well, then you join by to the side of your god. You actually get to live in serenity. Because while evil actions have certainly been committed by Grishka, Vroga doesn't care about good or evil or neutrality. Vroga cares about one thing, right? Or Vorsk, or whatever his name might be, right? However, Ilen returns to go serve the martyr, but already had time chasing him prior to even having time chase him. So very quickly it catches up, and Ilen ages very rapidly over the course of the next few days, ages as a Perrin to the brink, and unfortunately will comes to rest. But already being in the martyr's realm, is easily able to continue serving the martyr and delivering the message there, just as it's Phaedral's responsibility to deliver the message to Nankaro. It's known what needs to happen. That, again, the message to Yara, a little twisted, but that no aid can be given to, what's it called? Entropy any longer. And that, well, the Arcane Congress and their influence needs to be disrupted, and so on and so on. I do have every intention of one day in the future running a campaign called Aurorum, the Book of Chaos. I hope to one day eventually be able to run that campaign. Yeah, that's why I was saying Laszlo would be the best choice. I didn't realize that they didn't know Laszlo, though. I had too many campaigns for me to remember that
Laszlo
one
would
in
have made
detail.
sense if I knew.
Yeah, we stay away from Floridians.
Yeah. There's also a whole bunch of other tidbits thrown in there as well. Important interpretations on the stream, because I really gotta go. Important interpretations before we on the stream. One such interpretation is that the chaos can be used to create new life or to alter life to make it more powerful. That's a head nod to, of course, the Perrin, but also to the Sill. The Sill themselves
Yeah.
are utilized using the instructions of the Book of Chaos.
I thought it was a head nod to Dark Souls with demons being created, new life in the bed of chaos, the chaos flame.
I never finished Dark Souls, any of them. So, I
I mean,
never ran
that
out of time.
figures. Yeah, bad gamer.
No, I just didn't have. I only have time to do D&D and work.
Yeah, bad gamer.
Or that. Sure. So, anyways, and then you have the god, these outer gods, as far as you define them, while certainly immortal perceptions are placed upon them. That's the mortals that choose to put their own ideas onto them, right? Just like you could talk to 1,000 Christians and get different interpretation of what it means to be Christian. You can talk to 1,000 Muslim and get different interpretation of what it means to be Muslim, and so on and so forth. Such is also the case for the faith to these gods. The god that you spoke to, the deity that you spoke to, I should say, was the deity of magic, right? And had no alignment that the true neutrality, because magic is neither good nor evil. It's neither law nor chaos. It is neutrality. So that was the deity of magic, which is why magic flows in a disrupted manner in Aurorum. There is nothing to make it flow correctly. It's the chaos is contained by the actions of the Arcane Congress, because the Arcane Congress are, from a moral perspective, doing a legitimately good and lawful thing. From a moral perspective, they are stopping chaos.
They think they're doing good.
They're doing a neutral, lawful thing. Like when we factor in everything, like the experimentation, the nuking.
Well, no. Hold on. In their origins, they were doing a good and lawful thing, which was to stop the chaos from having huge disruptions and explosions and stuff like that could cost countless bystanders and innocents' lives, simply because one person wanted to cast a spell here could have a huge ramification on the other side of the continent or world because of how disruptive magic was, right? Everything was wild and chaos. By reducing the amount of power that each individual person has, the amount of high-tier power being used, it brought order to the area and allowed for flourish of life and for it to be calm, so on and so forth. Now, if you're talking about the modern day Arcane Congress and what its leadership are doing, that's open for interpretation. But in the initial inception, the AC had important purpose in the world. They just didn't. They misinterpreted what was left for them as a warning, as opposed to a request. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited to see tieflings come about now. Caro had this message delivered by Phaedril, and he's like, you know what? My best servants have been Raerin, a human, and Phaedril, an imp, because all my other servants, aka angels, are just total judgmental dicks.
Enter Raerin fanfic.
Phaedrin
fanfic.
Yeah, we're gonna have tieflings, guys. It's confirmed. It's confirmed.
The
Global
amount
race.
of stuff that happened both in
Pygmy
the
flings.
Friday session and this session
Scots.
is going to alter so much about the world and what's going to happen in the next campaign now.
So
No, it's gonna have no effect on the next campaign because it's however many years in the future. Like we don't even know how many hundreds.
No, our message was sent back in time.
their message was sent back in time to those
Yeah.
two mortals.
To who though?
Elliot and 3.
Elliot's been semi-functional about no. Like
So-
I don't think we'll see instant repercussions.
Well, the events on Friday, we definitely will.
But either way, so we will we'll definitely see how this all finishes playing out. So the important thing to note, though, is that these gods, as I said, these deities, as I said, don't have these ideals that are put on them, or that are even sometimes they portray themselves as, like as I said, the form that Vroga chooses to take now. The story of Vroga as it is now is a story that Vroga allows to exist about themselves, because that allows people to take their own interpretation or perspective, so on and so forth. But what Vroga or Vorsk or whatever really is the god of chaos. Just like what Lady Aravel or Darkenin or whatever their name is the god of law. Just as the god of magic here is god of neutrality, or is neutral themselves while being a god of magic.
Okay.
And you can imagine there's probably also a god of good. There's probably also a god of evil that exists. But I will say that while there are several outer planes gods, like true gods that exist on Aurorum, even if they're not often represented in Eroth, almost all the gods are neutral, because gods are neither good nor evil nor lawful nor chaotic. They are just whatever concept that they are.
Except Lady Arabelle.
Lady Arabelle is law. Rosk or Broga is chaos.
Evil.
So on and so forth. She's not evil though. Like, actually, if you look at her backstory, she was originally started to be like lawful good, I think is in her backstory. Is her current one.
Don't
But I
make
mean,
me don't make me
is
troll
that-
through those
Is that her
PDFs.
actual backstory, though? You know
But-
what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
But if you sure. But then you also look at people that are inspired by her, right? You have Cadus, sorry, Cadus is lawful good in worship of Lady Arabelle, because she's still about acceptance and open-heartedness.
Yeah, it's too broad of a thing to say evil or good from just chaos or just lawful
Mhm.
control.
Mhm.
Um,
You're mixing
yeah,
the axes.
Unfortunately, right now, chaos is what's needed.
Yeah, well, chaos of the magic, exactly. So, because unfortunately this thing thrives off of order, because it can almost imagine if you have just like a bunch of food in front of you, a bunch of food on a table, and you just tell a whole bunch of people to go and just take what they want, and everybody just kind of goes over and starts grabbing at what they want, versus like an orderly line walking down, where it's set up in a single file and people are able to take what they need, right? You can more adequately distribute the food to the individuals if you have order than if you have chaos, right? And this individual wants their food. Nom, Raerin.
Except in this case, the people queuing are gods, and the food is all souls.
Well, the person queuing, or the individual queuing is what's it called?
No, it
Entropy.
can't be just
It's just
entropy,
entropy.
because then it's not a queue.
Well, entropy is more than just one, and is not just one and not many, and it's just entropy.
Okay, so the gods are like the waiters then.
Just entropy.
Would you care for some hors d'oeuvres, Mr. Entropy?
But still, how it is that entropy got here, how it is that entropy does what it does, all those things, those are still unknown. Those weren't defined. Like, why are they here? How they got here? How it is that they're able to succeed in what it is that they do? Are they physically a creature that's located somewhere? All those kind of concepts, those are not known as of now. Simply what it is that it does and how it is to fight against it. Those are the only things that were discovered. So, a different campaign to learn more details. We'll worry about that some other time, won't we?
I'm so excited to be done with all this god shit.
It is nice that you don't have to deal with that.
It'll definitely be a tonal whiplash from dealing with such a grand scale.
Just
to
like having problems where
climatic.
things are like really powerful, or like people are just like, it's like just something that you can't deal with. Now it'll just be really great to just run someone through repeatedly when they disagree with you, like, oi, that's my horse. And you just pull out your dagger, and you don't have to be like, but actually, you see, they belong to Valorant. And you just repeatedly just keep going, and just you're like, and as a PC, you're like, I'm creating chaos. I'm
No.
doing good.
That's not the correct kind of chaos. That's not the
quite.
correct chaos. So that's the thing. It's like, it's an interpretation of like what chaos means. Is it's
I'm sorry, but these deities didn't tell us what sort of chaos. They said you need directed chaos, ordered chaos, orderly chaos. The chaos that has order. And we were like,
well, I'm trying to decide if I can answer what that means, but I don't think that's ever going to play out on a PC scale that matters. So so again, the way that the chaos has to be allowed to happen is there needs to be a lot of higher tier power kind of happening, a lot of greater magics happening without being shot down or stunted or so on and so forth. There needs to be more or less. The Arcane Congress needs to stop chokeholding everything around them. Boom, that equals more chaos, right? And then Lady Arabelle needs to stop with not Paradel. Not Paradel, that's not what we're referring to. But what Lady Aravel does in the kind of like the astral ethereal kind of like out there areas, what they're doing to allow this to kind of happen, that needs to be disrupted. But that doesn't
I
mean
agree.
everybody get anarchy. Woo!
I'm just
And you
saying.
just like shit in the grandma's bowl of cereal and like run off and kick grandpa in the teeth and jump out a window and then
Hello,
die because of
love.
glass.
Want some Cocoa Pops? No, I agree with your statement that we should choke out the AC. Like,
Well, so
get their leadership and don't stop.
no, I was saying the AC is unfortunately choking.
The little
out
legs start
magic.
kicking. They kind of slowly stop
Yeah.
kicking, and then they just go limp, and you just keep going.
And you're like cosmic good.
Also not what I said. Never once promoted death. Never once promoted murder. Simply disrupting all of that order. That's all I've said. But what I think I could say, I don't think this is major spoilers, but by disrupted chaos, so the order that is put into place by these institutions, by these gods, so on and so forth, isn't just on Era, right? It is unfortunately, as I said beforehand, the inner planes are not always the same. Like the iteration that you see now, more or less this universe that you live in, has its own physics, if you will, or its own like
Yeah,
iteration
well, I
of all
like
this.
the idea that when she was eaten, it changed the rules of magic, therefore creating a bunch of quarter planes or half planes, etc., etc.
There may have been multiple planes like that before, but in a different form. Who knows? And that's the thing is but either way. So your imagination is certainly run with it because it's not defined and it won't be defined, right?
Mhm.
It's just because it was a universe prior that was not able to be understood by you, right? So either way. So you going back to what I was saying there, if you imagine like Lady Aravel's grasp onto even the way that she influences those areas is to be lightened, right? And let's say you were to just transport a fuck ton of powerful mages to, say, the salt plane. That would have chaos in the salt plane because magic isn't just on Aurorum, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So it would allow a considerable amount of chaos to exist on the salt plane, and without necessarily having nuclear explosions all over Aurorum like what Josh did, you could have things like that happening in the salt plane. Well, there you go. You could have the chaos, but it's directed or controlled versus just having, oh, well, there goes an orphanage. Huh?
Well, I mean, I don't think it would be all over the place, just in very specific locations, such as
Lady Aravel
the
Temple.
AC and Lady. Oh, my
Well,
Lord.
hopefully,
Sounds good to me.
I emphasized to Elliot the importance of the Book of Chaos.
It may have been, Josh. It may have been.
that they misunderstood its meaning. Hopefully, then the Book of Chaos is the thing that will allow it to be directed properly.
Not gonna lie though, you were like, divinity's up for grabs, and I was like, glad Raerin's not there.
Legit, the
I
spark,
was like,
the spark was there.
I was like, I
Yeah, the
see
spark
why
was there.
why he killed off Raerin. He didn't want to give him the chance.
It's funny because like Ilen nearly did it because he thought he had to, not that he was wanting to. Like Ilen was just like, "Oh, is this like?"
Wouldn't that be great? He becomes the guilty god,
Oh god!
constantly flagelling himself. Like, Ilen did bad.
No, I'm
So
glad it played out the way it did.
So it was kind of important that one of the PCs died to entropy, because if not, it would have lacked the same tone, both
the
in the
impact
campaign and
and-
in the characters.
I'm glad. I don't know if Elliot knew he died, but I don't know if Elliot knew what happened to him. So I'm glad I was able to tell him at least what happened. That the entropy is what did it.
Yeah, but
That
That's
would've
right,
went way
baby,
over
it
Elliot's
took a
head, though,
god
'cause
killer.
we would have had no idea what the
Maybe,
fuck
but,
entropy
like-
was.
It's still more knowledge than he had about it before, and so
Yeah.
It might fill the gaping hole in his heart.
But again, just to be clear, she was not saying law is bad and order, or they was not saying
No, just-
law is bad or order is bad, or. And the reason why I keep specifying, I say she because I said vaguely feminine voice, but deities don't have a gender; they're genderless.
yeah.
They take on aspects just to again kind of like be
For
more
ease of
approachable
mortals.
for mortals, correct?
Yeah.
But they lack, and this one was taking on no aspect, right? You were seeing the god in its truest form, nothing, just power, just divine power. So there is no male, no female. So they is more accurate as opposed to she or he. Anyways, so that being said, they were not promoting chaos or evil or death or maiming or anything like that. As a matter of fact, it's one of those things where they showed regret or distaste for such things. But unfortunately,
It
it's
needs
just
to be done. Yeah.
when you're true neutral, it is like it is regrettable that things die. It's regrettable to watch a baby bird die, but that fox had to eat something. You know what I mean? That's just how
Yeah.
it works. There's too much order. And the only way to counter too much order is you have to have chaos. Just like too much chaos needs more order.
She was definitely promoting more chaos, like but not like the bad sort of chaos, just like the I'm upset at this Monopoly game and then you flip the board. That's minor chaos, just enough to throw HP off.
Chad is requesting for there to be an alternate reality where
I
Raerin becomes
agree,
God.
yeah.
The problem is Raerin was consumed, and when he was consumed by entropy, that meant he was consumed in all of his entirety. While the history of Raerin may still exist for all that has happened, nothing else could happen in any other universe.
But
He
if
was
Raerin
consumed.
Raerin was a god in another universe,
He would have been-
couldn't die.
He would have been a risen god, and therefore could die and be consumed.
Couldn't die
Yeah.
if he
Or
had
you're
the
back
divine
over.
spark of an outer plane god.
No. See,
Like Lady
He was
Arabelle.
already consumed. No, Lady Arabelle is a true god, just pretends to be a risen god. That was
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was
she,
what
she's
was
she
told.
a liar.
That's what Rain would be.
Well, they're all liars.
You're a liar.
Rogue is a liar
No.
too.
Yeah, they're all bad.
She is
Gods
a
are all
liar.
bad.
There you go. Straight out of Scott's mouth, Lady Arabelle liar.
Yeah, look,
Deserves
the
what she
entire
gets.
of chat believes in Raerin.
But the true name for orcs is not orc. It's Vorsk. Sorry,
Yeah.
Vrosk. 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 That's that was the name of the orcs, at least in the previous iteration of the world. What is it? In the second world of men, or what is it? What do they call that? What do they call it in Faerun? The second Middle Earth, third Middle Earth. How do they say it?
Sorry,
What?
I was.
Are you talking about the second
Sorry,
age?
I was timing out snow.
What do they call it?
I said, what are you talking about? Like the second age?
The second age. Is that what they call it? The age? Because it's
Yeah.
because like and thus dawn like the second age of men or second
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the ages of Middle Earth. Yeah.
yeah ages. So this is like in the previous age they would have been known as Vrosk, not as orc. So
I just read chat. That was fantastic. I just read
Viking, just so you know, we don't have to fail. We can actually release the horde in a different direction. All right. They don't just go up; they can go to the sides.
that's the idea. Is to face them west instead of northeast.
Yep.
So, anyways, I do have to go. I have to go make sure that Brittany's foot is okay. And having a child jumping all over you and being needy for life when you have a potentially broken foot is not good. That, and like I said, she has to go get a COVID test today. So if she tested positive, having less interaction between the two of them is also kind of a good thing. And so we have a negative test saying it's a little bit safer. So,
Yeah.
but I'm not worried about me yet. Until she tests positive, I'm not getting tested because there's no reason to. She had exposure, I did not. So I expose enough.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, and everybody, thank you to the three of you for helping me tell my story. I got to tell almost all the points that I wanted to, and certainly other ones I didn't expect to. So I appreciate it. It will be nice to end the God theme.
Yes, I think I speak for us all when I say that.
Thank you.
I mean, and when I say all, I mean like chat and PCs. Our only regret is Raerin not being here.
I don't know. I think Norway is very, very happy Raerin wasn't here.
Yeah, but Raerin, Norway's currently having a midlife crisis off the back of the fact that law is evil and chaos is good.
That's not at all what I said. That's not what I said.
Go find the clip.
There's a There's too much
More
law.
with feeling.
Too much law is not good.
Well,
I am excited for inclement.
I think Norway, as somebody who lives in a country where he's allowed to choose the color of shoes he wants to wear, would agree that if he wasn't allowed to make that decision, would think that too much law is a bad thing. So
I don't know. I'm fairly certain. Didn't he like cut out someone's tongue or break fingers? I don't know. Or was that the other good party?
no. Well, I mean, he was dealing with a cultist that literally summoned demons, and he was trying to disrupt them from being able to summon more demons. So that's literally like
Sounds like excuses to me.
but we deal with demons. We deal with demons and whatnot. That is like evil. Like
I'm
murdering
kidding.
somebody is bad. Demons are worse. Because like one demon will then cause so much chaos and evil that each one of those individuals lead to significantly more suffering and harm and so on and
you
so
need to
forth than
counteract
one
it.
evil
You need to
person.
counteract it by being even better. You need to be even better.
Well, that's typically speaking how Nora's character approaches things. Sometimes, however, you are in a situation where only certain
Demons
decisions
do
can be
bring
done.
chaos. We
But-
do need more chaos.
Can I insert a comment here? Just, I want to thank Scott for inviting me to be in this campaign because I'd never done this system before at all,
Oh, Pathfinder.
and
Same.
it quickly has become one of my favorite systems, and definitely, probably my favorite campaign I've ever done. So,
Oh, good. I'm glad. Thank you. I know at 5e, it's at 5e. Friday, they're like, can we try Pathfinder soon? So it's growing.
I really enjoy both. I think they both have benefits, but I think just the sheer until the customization even remotely catches up with 5e to Pathfinder, Pathfinder just has so much options and so much uniqueness.
You can make
to
such
it.
a hyper specialized character in Pathfinder. It
Which
can be
has
completely
pros and
useless at
benefits.
90% of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
there's that one thing it's damn good at.
We
Then, of
already
course-
teased the next campaign.
Yes.
Well,
we
actually,
have
I was gonna say,
It's gonna be wet.
would each of you like to give one detail, whether it be the name of your class or the name of your race or your character's name or the age category that they are or what region or country province or country your character comes from? Just literally one detail. And no, not something like
Before-
my eyes are blue. Not but one detail.
Before we move on to that, Jake's statement time. All right, seeing as we're making statements, it's the end of an era, end of a campaign.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
I do want to thank Scott so much for the world and giving us the opportunity to become friends and play a game together
Yes.
that we really enjoy. So thank you to Scott and Neil and Tesh. Thank you very much.
You too.
And I want to say thank you to chat. From when we started, there was, I think in our first couple of things, there was like 6 or 7 people popping in, and to see those same people stay the whole way through and
Oh,
the
yeah.
community and the people that are watching grow, it is heartwarming. I'm sure Scott feels the same way. And I just wanted to thank all you guys as well. It's been a hell of a ride. I'm going to miss Grishka a lot. He is definitely my favorite character I've ever had. I like that at the end I got the chance to stay true to him because after he lost everyone, he was lost, and it gave him that purpose almost that he had at the start. So I enjoyed it, and I just want to thank everyone.
It actually allows me to I think I'll finally come out and say something that I've said this before a bunch of times whenever I do the streaming bit. I always keep my hand on the ripcord. You have to there's so many things in life. You always keep your hand on the ripcord. Because I'm a dad, full-time job and all that fun stuff. I always sitting there like, do I continue making that? Do I continue putting all this effort into this like I do? Do I continue pushing forward, or do I give up? And there was actually, like what you've heard from a bunch of streamers or YouTubers or whatever, a lot of people have contemplated giving up. I'm sure a lot of people that you follow have given up. At one of my lowest lows, like the point in time where Brittany and I, so not just me, Brittany has always been go, 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 go. When Brittany was like, I think we might need to start having that conversation, which is the only time she ever brought it up, and she's never brought it up before or since, right? So it was the only time ever we actually contemplated ending Daelric, keeping Lost Initiative, but ending Daelric back then. This is about 2 years ago. And then actually I met Jake, which, fun fact, when Kingmaker first started, Jake was actually a silent sponsor to Kingmaker. That ended over a year ago at this point. I don't remember exactly how long ago, but Jake was actually a silent sponsor to Kingmaker, and was kind of the vigor to continue going on, to continue kind of pushing on. And so actually, literally the creation of Kingmaker and the start of this whole project was a huge thanks to Jake, because if it wasn't for literally Jake reaching out to me when he did, funny enough, through my website, a legitimate email, as opposed to all those weird ones that I get that I'm somewhat convinced is actually Josh. Like, if it wasn't for Jake specifically reaching out to me when he did, and asking and being like, hey, Marlis, I love what you do, I'd like to see more go on. And then I was chatting back and forth, and I was like, I don't know, this guy seems like a pretty cool dude. I don't know, I want to meet them, because maybe instead of just like running a campaign or whatever, maybe they could be a part of it. And so I actually met with Jake and was like, wow, this dude's wicked awesome. And we ended up, this started, and then he ended up being Australian, and I ended up reaching out to Tesh, who and I were talking back then, and actually, funny enough, happens to be Australian. And then we brought the douchebag here, all the queen, and blah 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 blah. You're welcome for blah blah blah. Manifest Destiny, or no, Magna Carta. Blah blah blah.
I brought the king. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Either way, it just kind of like it all. I don't believe in fate and whatnot, but it was definitely almost like serendipitous, like that things kind of happens the way they did, and I appreciate it. I appreciate these boys, Neil, for being so lofty in his opinion of himself and thinking that he is some sort of royal, playing Kingdom 2 Crowns, thinking that he should be creating his own kingdom. Jake for stepping forward with the request and the early on sponsorship, and the character that he made, and to temper the opposite direction of just being like a dick. Not Jake, obviously, the character. And then Tesh, who made two very kind-hearted characters that just kind of like mellowed the two of them out. A good marriage between the two of them, right? Like Tesh is like a perfect like in between the two of those. It's almost like if you put them on like a gradient, Tesh is right there, right? Like you got Grishka's, or I should say, Jake is R, you're Y, and we definitely got Violet over there. So anyways, thank you all very much. I appreciate it. End of a campaign, proper ending as opposed to the
I think since we're ending, we'll end it properly, and I'm not gonna say anything just to really like throw everyone off. There'll be no speech from me here.
Well, your real character is dead, so.
All right.
Wow.
I love you,
decided
man.
His character got axed.
I feel a speech coming on. All right, let's go, and I gotta go and check on Britt, and I actually gotta get work done. I'm gonna be working from home to start my day because of everything and whatnot. So thank you all again. I'll see you tonight at Lost Initiative, 9 p.m. EST, and we'll see you.
Guys. Thank you.
Oh! I'm so sorry.
Wait.
We already have the
Rapid fire
raid
the
timer
one
going.
detail.
Yeah, one detail for each of you before I
Okay.
click raid.
Keep in mind that the campaign is in Clemay. I will be from Malta.
All right, from Malta.
Ooh.
All right. Who's next? We have like 30
I
seconds.
will have an animal companion.
Okay, that's actually a really cool one. I appreciate that one. All right. And Jake, did you make your character? I haven't made my character yet.
I will change the. I will create and change life.
All right. Create and change
Ooh.
life. Have an animal companion from a Malta. That's all we're giving now. Look out for those session zeros. You know how to get them over on Patreon. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.